Chapter 2008. Longao continued to provoke them. It was a great humiliation. The two began to attack crazily. They did not get close and only attacked from a distance. Although Sha Xing was very unhappy with the two of them in his heart at this time, he still had to deal with Longao first. The three of them working together could not kill Longao in the shortest time. This was a joke in itself. The longer they delayed, the more ridiculous this joke would be. From the beginning to the end, Longao did not use the Starry Sky Soul Slave Army because he knew very well that even 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slaves could not kill the three of them. Not only that, once the Starry Sky Soul Slaves were used, they might suffer heavy casualties and would not be of any help to him. Master, I'm here to help you. 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda. Suddenly hearing Linglong's spiritual consciousness transmission, Longao was overjoyed. He took out the small black pagoda and threw it at the three of them. What was that? The small black pagoda instantly turned into a huge black pagoda. Before the three of them could react, the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda had begun to suppress them. 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda quickly worked together. The three of them recognized the legendary Starry Sky Divine Weapon at a glance. It was definitely a super powerful Starry Sky Divine Weapon. The three of them never thought that the other party would have the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda. Even with their strength, they did not dare to be careless. Because once they were suppressed by the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda, it would be difficult to get out. If it suppressed one person, it might succeed. But if it wanted to devour and suppress 3 people, it would be difficult. The two sides were in a stalemate. The opportunity came. Longao did not retreat, nor did he take the opportunity to leave. Instead, he charged at the three of them. The Starry Sky Martial Skill, Absolute Destruction Palm, filled the sky with palm shadows. The three of them were extremely frustrated. After forcing Longao away, the three of them looked at each other and knew what the other was thinking. They roared. The three of them used all their strength to attack the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda. The 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda was sent flying back. Even the 7 Orifices Exquisite Pagoda could not resist the three of them. The situation was extremely dangerous. Just when Longao did not know what to do, the situation changed. Inside his dantian, the Chaos Stone Tablet that had been silent suddenly appeared and turned into a huge stone tablet. Grass. Longao cursed in his heart. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablet had appeared once more, causing Longao to feel extremely depressed. He had already tried to slowly refine the Chaos Stone Tablet. However, he was still unable to control it. If that was the case, when the Chaos Stone Tablet would appear was an uncertain matter. They were in big trouble. Longao was well aware of what a Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. Now that the three of them already knew the secret of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablets, he was afraid that trouble would come endlessly in the future. Looking at the sky-reaching steel in front of them, the three of them were a little dumbfounded. What is this? Could it be the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet? Chaos Stone Tablet. It's really a Chaos Stone Tablet. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. After confirming that the sky-piercing stone steel in front of them was the legendary Primal Chaos Stone Steel, the three of them laughed maniacally. Their laughter was filled with surprise and disbelief. There were a total of 12 astral rulers in the vast universe. Correspondingly, there were 12 Chaos Stone Tablets in the universe as well. They were the 5 elements Chaos Stone Tablet, Devouring Chaos Stone Tablet, Thunder Chaos Stone Tablet, Space Chaos Stone Tablet, Time Chaos Stone Tablet, Destruction Chaos Stone Tablet, Reincarnation Chaos Stone Tablet, Massacre Chaos Stone Tablet, Divine Divination Chaos Stone Tablet, Sword Will Chaos Stone Tablet, Imperishable Tyrannical Body Chaos Stone Tablet, and Darkness Chaos Stone Tablet. The three of them could not confirm just what kind of power this Chaos Stone Tablet belonged to. This was practically a surprise. It was as though a pie had fallen from the skies. In the face of this Chaos Stone Tablet, shattering the universe and teleporting were all dog-T. The faces of the three of them were filled with greed. However, none of them struck out immediately. Instead, they looked at each other warily. Even if it were Situ He and Old Master Heaven and Earth who had been good brothers for so many years, they would definitely come to blows in front of this Chaos Stone Tablet. The two of you, I've got to bring this Chaos Stone Tablet back to the heaven-devouring empire for His Majesty to deal with. I'm sure the two of you have no objections, right? F***CK. The two of them cursed inwardly. What a despicable and shameless Sha Xing. He actually used the heaven-devouring empire to suppress them. If it was anything else, they would have handed it over under the threat of the heaven-devouring empire. However, the Chaos Stone Tablet was a legendary item. As long as they could refine it, they could become the new ruler of Starry Sky. Sha Xing, do you want it, or the heaven-devouring empire? Of course, Sha Xing wanted it. However, he still said, the two of you, could it be that the two of you want to snatch something from the empire? Enough. Don't dawdle here. Sha Xing, if you stand aside obediently and don't stop the two of us from getting the Chaos Stone Tablet, we can spare your life later. Otherwise, they did not continue, but the meaning of their words was clear. It was unrealistic to say that they were not afraid. After all, the two of them were territory ancestors of Starry Sky. Any one of them could fight against them, let alone the two of them working together. Could it be that they had to give up on the Chaos Stone Tablet? In the past, when the 12 rulers of Starry Sky had fallen, the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets had been scattered everywhere. For countless years, everyone had been searching for the Chaos Stone Tablets. However, in the end, no one had found them. It was as if the Chaos Stone Tablets had disappeared altogether. If they did not seize this opportunity, would they have another chance to get the Chaos Stone Tablets in the future? The temptation of the Chaos Stone Tablets and the ruler of Starry Sky was too great. However, Sha Xing would not fight force with force. He sneered and said, even if I'm willing to back out, what about the two of you? That's not your problem. How about this? The three of us will rely on our own abilities. No matter who gets the Chaos Stone Tablet, the other two will not reveal it. They will also choose to submit to the one who gets the Chaos Stone Tablet. What do the two of you think? Under the current circumstances, this was the only way. The three of them were clear that if they fought each other, not only would they not get the Chaos Stone Tablet, but they would also give Longao a chance. They were not fools. They would not do that. The three of them did not move. They were clear that if one of them moved, the other two would attack. No one was willing to be the first bird. Behind the Chaos Stone Tablet, Longao felt helpless. He had tried to summon the Chaos Stone Tablet back, but he could not. This was not the way to go. However, thinking about what had happened before, if the three of them dared to touch the Chaos Stone Tablet and get swallowed by it, it would not be a bad result. The Chaos Stone Tablet that Longao had obtained was the devouring Chaos Stone Tablet of the 12 Chaos Stone Tablets. It had the power to devour. It could devour heaven and earth. It could devour everything. P.S. Send the 4th chapter. Chapter 2009. The temptation was too great. In the end, the three of them carefully moved towards the tablet. When they were less than 3 meters away from the tablet, they suddenly sped up. Sha Xing's power was above the other two, and his speed was obviously faster. This meant that Sha Xing was doomed. The moment he touched the tablet, before Sha Xing could react, a terrifying energy entered his body and started to devour him. Pitiful cries rang out. The two people who were about to snatch the Primal Chaos Tablet heard the incomparably pitiful cries and shuddered. So scary. The tablet had a backlash. The two of them understood what was going on. They didn't dare to snatch the tablet anymore. Instead, they turned around and left. Save me! Save me! Save me! Seeing the two of them leave without caring about his own life, Sha Xing was furious. If he didn't die this time, he would do everything he could to destroy the Heaven and Earth sect and kill the two of them. But could he escape? Even if Sha Xing was a territory ancestor, he had been devoured by the tablet. In just a few minutes, he had disappeared into the tablet. Dead? Sha Xing died just like that? Situ He and Heaven and Earth ancestor were shocked. They didn't know why the tablet had a backlash. Was it because of Longao? Longao, hand over the tablet and we'll spare your life. The two of them had already thought of this possibility. One on the left and one on the right, they completely surrounded Longao. In front of the tablet, whether it was breaking the starry sky or teleporting, they were all useless. The two of them only wanted to get the tablet. If you have the ability, snatch it yourself. Longao was also surprised. He didn't expect that devouring the tablet could really devour Shashing. If that was the case, even if the two of them had 10,000 guts, they wouldn't dare to snatch the tablet. The tablet, which hadn't moved, suddenly shrunk. However, it didn't return to Longao's dantian. Instead, it sped forward. Before Longao could react, his body was forcefully taken away. The speed was too fast. It was even faster than teleportation. In a blink of an eye, they had disappeared without a trace. Gone? The tablet was gone. Even Longao had disappeared along with him. What should we do now? Seal the news and don't leak it out. We have to find this person as soon as possible. Even if word got out, no one would believe it. Situhi's intentions were simple. He wanted this matter to be kept a secret. From there, the two of them would search for Longao on their own. In other words, they would search for the primal chaos stone tablets. Once word got out, it was fine if others didn't believe it. But what if they did? If that time really came, not only the heaven-devouring empire, but the other empires would also flock over. With so many universal realm lords descending, would the two of them still have anything to do with it? Ancestor of heaven and earth, of course, knew what Situhi meant. He nodded and said, "That's the only way." At this moment, Feng Cheng and Feng Xia arrived. Seeing the other two's stern faces, their hearts sank. It seemed like their premonition was right. Even if the three territory ancestors joined hands, they couldn't kill Longao. "Ancestor, what's going on? Where's Shashing?" Ancestor of heaven and earth didn't hide anything from them. He told them everything that had happened. After listening, the two of them were shocked to the extreme. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. It was the legendary Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Both Feng Cheng and Feng Xia knew what the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet meant. If they could get it and refine it, they might become the new ruler of the universe. No one would dare to disobey them. Just thinking about it made them excited. You too, remember? Don't leak this out. We have to find Longao as soon as possible. We can't let others get to him first. We understand. Ancestor, what should we do about Shashing? No matter what, Shashing was a member of the heaven-devouring empire. He was also the third prince's master. If this matter wasn't handled well, the sect would be in big trouble. Ancestor of heaven and earth said, "Put all the blame on Longao for Shashing's death. Although the heaven-devouring empire will pay attention to Longao, they won't care about him. The actual operation will depend on us." Since things had come to this, this was the only way. Longao couldn't move his body at all under the influence of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Just like that, he left the heaven and earth realm like a shooting star. Not even his afterimage could be seen. In an instant, he left the heaven and earth realm and flew towards the southeast. His speed was too fast. Longao knew that even if he teleported continuously, he wouldn't be able to match the speed of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Roughly 2 hours later, Longao's body came to a stop. He didn't know how far he had traveled. It was a huge mirror. He couldn't see the end of it. There was only darkness on his left and right. Longao didn't know where he was. The Devour Primal Chaos Stone Tablet floated above Longao's head just like that. A black light enveloped it. Following that, an image began to appear on the huge mirror. Longao was almost certain that the image that appeared on the mirror was definitely the vast starry sky with countless planes standing in great numbers. It was beautiful, but Longao didn't have time to admire it. He didn't know what was going on. Why would the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet bring him here? A total of 12 people appeared in the mirror. Longao's eyes narrowed. He seemed to have guessed something. Could it be the 12 rulers of the universe? Among the 12 people, there were men and women, old and young. However, as soon as they appeared, Longao stared at one of them. This person was too familiar. Without a doubt, this person was the ruler of the universe. So it was the ruler of the universe. Longao never thought that the person who had been with him for so many years would be the ruler of the universe. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. As soon as the 12 rulers of the starry sky appeared, the entire vast starry sky suddenly darkened. They seemed to be saying something, but Longao couldn't hear them. Then, a middle-aged man suddenly started fighting with the people around him. The 12 rulers of the starry sky seemed to have gone crazy. They kept attacking him. The man who had attacked first was attacked by 11 people together. In the end, he died, and the chaos stone tablet disappeared. Then, the remaining 11 rulers of the universe started fighting again. P.S. The 5th chapter is here. There's one more chapter. Yesterday's 6 chapters have all been added. There's a total of 11 chapters. Now, 10 chapters have been updated. There's one more chapter. Little 9 will send it as soon as possible. Chapter 2010. The 11 rulers of the starry sky fought for half an hour. In the end, all the rulers of the starry sky died. The 12 primal chaos stone steels also disappeared. What was the meaning of this? He had seen this scene before. What was the meaning of seeing it again and again? Longao knew clearly that it wasn't simple. The 12 rulers of the starry sky were all dead. The vast universe regained its calm. However, at this moment, a crack was torn open in the vast universe. It was a 10,000 zhang long crack. He was scared out of his wits. Longao knew clearly that the crack he created when he shattered the starry sky was nothing compared to the 10,000 zhang long crack in the mirror. It wasn't worth mentioning at all. It was too terrifying. No matter who was swallowed by the 10,000 zhang long crack, they would die. Who could tear open such a crack in the starry sky? However, before the crack appeared, the 12 rulers of the starry sky were all dead. Could there be a mysterious expert? What's that? A pair of eyes suddenly appeared in the crack. It was a pair of giant eyes. A 10,000 zhang long pair of eyes. It was frightening. Just as Longao was in shock, the pair of giant eyes that suddenly appeared in the crack suddenly looked in his direction. Boom! His primordial spirit trembled. Fortunately, it was just a glance. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao was extremely shocked. The power of this pair of giant eyes was too terrifying. Not to mention him, he believed that even the territory ancestors of the starry sky couldn't resist it. The scene that happened next made Longao completely dumbfounded. At this time, the pair of huge eyes slowly began to merge. It seemed to be merging at a very fast speed, but in fact it was very fast. In just a few minutes, the two huge eyes had merged into one huge eye. Not only that, after merging, the 10,000 zhang long giant eye suddenly got rid of the mirror's image and moved toward him. Damn it! He didn't know what was happening. However, Longao was frozen by the Chaos Stone tablet. He didn't know what was going on. The reincarnation heavenly eye on Longao's forehead opened quickly. The 10,000 zhang long giant eye swished and entered the reincarnation heavenly eye, gradually merging with it. What was going on? Longao was a little confused. Why would the 10,000 zhang long giant eye merge with his reincarnation heavenly eye? In the next second, Longao had completely fainted. It was unknown whether or not it was because of the fusion, but the primal chaos stone tablet released a black light that completely covered Longao. The wordless heavenly book appeared. A young man who looked exactly like Longao. He stared at the huge crack in the mirror. Suddenly, he turned around, stared at Longao and said coldly, "You finally appeared. Ha ha ha. How? How? If we could kill you back then, we can do the same now." Humph. A black figure appeared in Longao's reincarnation, heavenly eye. It was very small and stayed within the reincarnation, heavenly eye. Hums hum. If you anger me, I will destroy the entire vast starry sky. How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. The small figure of the reincarnation, heavenly eye burst out laughing maniacally. His laughter was filled with dominance, as though he was looking down on the heavens. The face of the black-robed young man was grim. There was no need to talk about the strength of the other party. If he were to destroy the entire heavenly eye would be destroyed. That was an outcome that he could not bear. What do you want? My request is simple. You are not allowed to destroy this man. All right, I can promise you that. But I have a condition. The small figure of the reincarnation heavenly eye thought for a moment and said, "The day I reincarnate will be the day you enter that place. But you have to help me protect this man. You must not be discovered by anyone else." Deal. The moment he finished speaking, be it the small figure or the black-robed young man, both of them disappeared. Time passed by bit. After an unknown period of time, Longao finally woke up. Realizing that he was not dead, he heaved a sigh of relief. As for the Chaos Stone tablet, it had already disappeared and returned to his Dantian. But why was the reincarnation heavenly eye able to fuse with that gigantic eye? He stood up and realized that there was nothing wrong with his body. He quickly opened the reincarnation heavenly eye on his forehead, but there was nothing wrong. What in the world was going on? Where's the mirror? It was only then that Longao realized that the gigantic mirror before him had disappeared. Once again, countless planes appeared around him. Everything that had happened was just like a dream. Could it really be a dream? It definitely wasn't a dream. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that something was amiss. No matter how he searched, he couldn't find the so-called state at all. He shrugged his shoulders helplessly. Since things had already come to this, there was nothing he could do about it. The moment the news of the fall of the Territory Ancestor Sand Star spread out, it shook the entire world. After all, the Territory Ancestor Sand Star was the strongest being below the Universal Lord. The fall of each Territory Ancestor would cause a huge uproar. Moreover, the Universal Sect had spread the news that the one who killed the Territory Ancestor Sandstar was a mere level 8 Starry Sky cultivator. Was this true? It was unbelievable. However, no one doubted it because the Universal Sect wouldn't joke about this kind of thing. After all, Sandstar was backed by the heaven-devouring empire. The Universal Sect had also spread the news that Longao had killed Sandstar because of schemes and tricks. It wasn't his true strength. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard the news. If a level 8 Starry Sky cultivator could kill the territory ancestor of the Starry Sky territory with his own strength, it would be ridiculous. Even so, Longao had already become famous in the world. No matter what schemes and tricks he had used, Longao had killed the territory ancestor Sandstar. Everyone only cared about the result, not the process. Everyone was looking forward to the outcome. They wondered what the heaven-devouring empire would do. After all, Sandstar wasn't just a member of the heaven-devouring empire. He was also the third prince's teacher and a territory ancestor of the Starry Sky. If he was killed without any reason, the heaven-devouring empire would lose face. Longao was going to be in trouble. Not to mention the strength of a single person, even the strength of an entire world wouldn't be a match for the heaven-devouring empire. Everyone was looking forward to seeing how the heaven-devouring empire would deal with Longao. However, no matter how long they waited, the heaven-devouring empire still hadn't issued a kill order. What was going on? Could it be that the heaven-devouring empire was going to tolerate it? Impossible. It was impossible. The heaven-devouring empire didn't need to be afraid of a mere level 8 Starry Sky cultivator. No one knew what was going on. However, the Universal Sect had issued a kill order for Longao to continue. P.S. The 6th chapter has been delivered. Yesterday's chapter has been updated. Today's chapter will be updated after dinner. Chapter 2011. What was going on? Everyone was confused. The actions of the heaven-devouring empire were a little strange. When Longao heard the news, he was curious too. Under normal circumstances, the heaven-devouring empire would not let him off since he had killed Sha Xing. But what happened? There was no news at all. The heaven-devouring empire acted as though nothing had happened. Longao did not let his guard down. The heaven-devouring empire aside, just the heaven-devouring sect alone was a huge problem. Now that he had exposed the Chaos Stone tablet, the heaven-devouring sect would definitely not let him off. No matter what, the temptation of the Chaos Stone tablet was far greater than shattering the starry skies and teleportation. No matter how strong Qinkuan sect was, they could only affect a single Qinkuan plane. They couldn't even affect a single world. Even if the heaven-devouring sect issued a kill order, most people would just watch from the sidelines. If it was in the past, some people might not be able to resist the temptation of the heaven-devouring sect and would search for Longao. But now, No one was willing to do so, especially after the news of the heaven-devouring sect saying that Longao had killed Sha Xing. No one was willing to do so. In front of one's life, everything was nonsense. Darkness Plain, Black Wind Ridge. Old Master Black Wind suddenly led Black Wind Ridge to attack the heaven-devouring sect. The reason was simple. Black Wind Ridge felt that the heaven-devouring sect had wronged them. If they did not give an explanation, they would not let this matter rest. Was this a reason? Everyone knew that this was just an excuse for Blackwind Ridge. Blackwind Ridge's real goal was to destroy Qinkuan sect and take over the Qinkuan plain. Everyone knew about their ambitions. Before this, the two plains had a grudge. Blackwind Ridge just could not find an excuse to attack. When Longao heard that Blackwind Ridge was attacking the heaven-devouring sect, he was elated. When two tigers fought, one was bound to be injured. When both sides were injured, he would reap the benefits of the battle. However, the moment Black Wind Ridge chose to attack, they were met with objections. If anyone else objected, Black Wind Ridge would not have cared. After all, the Darkness Plain was the #1 plain in this plain. However, the person who stopped the Black Wind Ridge this time had a great background. It was none other than the third prince. The heaven-devouring empire was enraged that their master was killed. However, the heaven-devouring empire had no intention of getting involved in this matter. The third prince volunteered to take the two territory ancestors of the starry sky to come. Not giving face to the third prince? The Blackwind Ridge knew that if they didn't give the third prince face, they wouldn't give the heaven-devouring empire any face. Even if Blackwind Ridge was the #1 sect in this world, it was still nothing compared to the heaven-devouring empire. Although Blackwind Ridge was extremely unwilling, they still chose to give up in the end. Third Prince, you're finally here. She was just pretending. In Feng Cheng's heart, he didn't wish for the third prince to come. After all, the fewer people who knew about the Primal Chaos Stone tablets, the better. Uncle, let me introduce you. This is Elder He, and this is Elder Bai. They are the protectors of the heaven-devouring empire. They came with me to deal with Longao. Uncle, the third prince, Qin Feng, could also be considered shameless. However, as a prince, it would be impossible for him to not be a little wily. Elder He, Elder Bai, Feng Cheng, and Ancestor Qian Kuan had naturally heard of their names. Both Elder He and Elder Bai were protectors of the heaven-devouring empire. Their cultivation had reached the universal territory ancestor realm. Not only that, when the two of them worked together, killing ordinary universal territory ancestors would be child's play. Before Feng Cheng and Ancestor Qian Kuan could speak, Qin Feng asked, Uncle, is Longao still in the Qinkuan plain? In truth, Qin Feng didn't care about Sha Xing's life or death. After all, he still had a second, third, and fourth master. Universal territory ancestors might be high and mighty existences to the Qinkuan sect, but to the heaven-devouring empire, they were nothing. Not to mention universal territory ancestors, even universal territory lords were everywhere in the heaven-devouring empire. With tens of thousands of worlds, they would have tens of thousands of universal territory lords. Even if the heaven-devouring empire didn't have tens of thousands of universal territory lords, they would have at least a few hundred. Furthermore, they were all extremely powerful universal territory lords. Otherwise, how could they suppress tens of thousands of worlds? In fact, the heaven-devouring empire was also afraid. It wouldn't matter if it was just one or two, or even dozens of worlds. But what if it was hundreds or thousands of worlds? No matter how strong the heaven-devouring empire was, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. The heaven-devouring empire had thought of many ways to deal with this matter, but it was impossible for them to swallow tens of thousands of worlds. I don't know. Feng Cheng didn't lie. He truly didn't know if Longao was still in the Qinkuan plain. He only knew that Longao had left with the Primal Chaos Stone tablet. As for the Primal Chaos Stone tablet, Feng Cheng wouldn't reveal it unless the third prince found out about it himself. Uncle, what do you think we should do now? Feng Cheng looked at the old ancestor Qian Kuan. His meaning was clear. He couldn't make the decision for the Qinkuan sect, but he was Sia's father. Hence, the third prince respected him a little. After all, the old ancestor Qian Kuan's status was right there. After pondering for a while, he said helplessly, even though I've only interacted with Longao a few times, based on my understanding of him, he will definitely come back to deal with us. Really? This time, it was Old White who spoke. Even Old Hay and the third prince didn't believe it. Unless Longao was crazy, he wouldn't come back to die for nothing. Brother White, we can wait and see. I bet that Longao will appear in half a month. Let's wait and see. No one believed it at all. Not to mention Old Black and Old White. Even Feng Cheng and Feng Xia didn't believe it. It was a bit unbelievable. No matter how arrogant Longao was, it was absolutely impossible for him to return. If so, wouldn't it be like a sheep entering the tiger's mouth? Just as old ancestor Qian Kuan had guessed, if it was anyone else, they wouldn't come back. No one would be willing to die. Only Longao chose to enter the Qian Kuan plane again. He wanted to give them a taste of their own medicine. Longao had already received news that Black Windridge had given up on attacking the Qian Kuan sect due to the threat of the heaven-devouring empire. If he didn't do anything, wouldn't the Qian Kuan sect be safe? After thinking about it coldly, Longao decided to take the risk and enter the Qian Kuan plane. Even if he couldn't destroy the Qian Kuan sect, he wouldn't let them have it easy. He might even have to pay a price. Author's note, Chapter 7. Chapter 2012. Universe Plane. Longao did not appear. However, the 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slave Army headed towards Universe Sect. There were 20,000 Starry Sky Soul Slave Army. Longao was prepared to sacrifice 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slave Army to deal a heavy blow to Universe Sect. If it was an ordinary Starry Sky Soul Slave Army, it would be useless against Universe Sect. However, the Starry Sky Soul Slave Army was different. The 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slaves were fearless as they started to attack Universe Sect crazily. Seeing the situation, Old Black, Old White, and Shun Feng were stunned. They had never thought that Longao would return to Universe Plane. Was Longao not afraid of death? The three Starry Sky Territory ancestors joined forces. However, their speed was still very slow. The 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slave Army was dwindling. It would be a lie if he said that he did not feel heartache. However, Longao knew that he would not be able to catch the wolf without sacrificing the child. Where there was loss, there would be gain. Universe Peak. Longao's figure disappeared and reappeared rapidly. He was like a ghost as he entered Universe Sect without anyone noticing. If Feng Cheng and the others knew that Longao was right under their noses, what would they think? Long Fu, are you sure? Longao had sacrificed the 10,000 Starry Sky Soul Slave Army to divert Universe Sect's attention so that he could enter Universe Peak without anyone noticing. The reason was simple. Long Fu had told Longao that he had sensed an aura in Universe Peak. If Longao could obtain this item, he would be like a tiger that had grown wings. Until now, he did not know what it was. Master, it is at the bottom of the peak. Longao did not continue to ask because he knew that if Long Fu wanted to say, as long as he did not ask, Long Fu would take the initiative to say. If Long Fu did not want to say, even if he asked, Long Fu would not ask. Just like that, Longao rushed to the bottom of the peak as fast as he could. It was a huge cave. If it wasn't for Long Fu's senses, Longao definitely wouldn't have found this place. This cave was too hidden and had been sealed. Master, this item is extremely important. If I'm not wrong, it should have something to do with Qinkuan sect. What the hell is going on? Even without Long Fu saying anything, Longao knew that this cave definitely had something to do with Qinkuan sect. He still didn't know what was going on. Master, the Qinkuan sect was an extremely powerful existence in this world because the founder of the Qinkuan sect was a powerful Starry Sky World Lord. Shock. Longao never expected that the old ancestor of Heaven and Earth sect was actually a space world lord. Ancestor Qinkuan was not the founder of Qinkuan sect. Ancestor of Heaven and Earth was probably the 11th ancestor, which was vastly different from the first ancestor of Heaven and Earth. Long Fu, do you mean that the corpse of the first ancestor of Qinkuan sect is here? Nodding his head. That's right. Back then, the Qinkuan world lord dominated the world. Not only was he strong, he also had a famous god equipment. If Master could obtain this weapon, it would be of great help to you. What is this god equipment? Long Fu had always had high standards. Anything that could catch his eye would definitely not be ordinary. Longao was also filled with anticipation. He wanted to see what kind of weapon the Qinkuan World Lord had. Qinkuan bag. Qinkuan bag? Master, the Qinkuan bag is different from your 7-orifice exquisite pagoda. Legend has it that experts who are sucked into the Qinkuan bag would turn into nothingness in a few minutes. It is an extremely domineering weapon. The entire cave was huge. Longao had already started to search for the location of the Qinkuan bag. As a grade 8 cultivator, Longao's energy instantly covered the entire cave. So easy? Southwest corner. A yellow, tattered bag was placed on the ground. If it wasn't for Long Fu's warning, Longao knew that he wouldn't notice such a tattered bag even if it was placed in front of him. He believed that others wouldn't notice it either. By the side of the Qinkuan bag, a skeleton sat quietly. Without a doubt, Long Fu didn't need to say anything. Longao had already guessed that this skeleton must be the first ancestor of Qinkuan sect, the Qinkuan World Lord. The Qinkuan World Lord had really fallen. Cultivators who broke through to Space World might not be immortal, but they could live for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. If this was the case, there was no doubt that the Qinkuan World Lord didn't die naturally. Master, please don't touch it. Longao, who had just stretched out his hand, heard Long Fu's spiritual sense transmission. With a swoosh, he stretched both his hands back. Long Fu's figure appeared. His expression was solemn as he said, Master, although the Qinkuan World Lord has fallen, there is still a trace of his primordial spirit left. It seems like the Qinkuan World Lord was sealed here by another powerful World Lord. If Master accidentally breaks the seal and releases the Qinkuan World Lord, you can imagine the consequences. There was only one outcome. The Qinkuan World Lord might be reborn. If that was the case, he would have another powerful enemy for no reason. After breaking through to Space World Lord, there would definitely be a way to be reborn. Fortunately, Long Fu reminded him. Otherwise, if he accidentally broke the seal and released the Qinkuan World Lord, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao still didn't know how strong the Space World Lord was. Long Fu, what should we do now? Longao picked up the so-called Qinkuan bag from the ground beside the skeleton. Now that he had the treasure, he must find a way to deal with this skeleton. Otherwise, if it was discovered by others and the seal was broken, he would be in big trouble. Long Fu was very clear about his master's intention. He wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, completely destroying this skeleton. Long Fu smiled and said, Master, destroying this skeleton is too easy. What should I do? Hearing that Long Fu had a way, Longao was overjoyed. He couldn't wait. Anyway, he already had the Qinkuan bag. After dealing with the skeleton, he could leave. He didn't know if it was worth exchanging tens of thousands of soul slaves for a Qinkuan bag, but since it was already like this, he could only face it head-on. He just hoped that the power of the Qinkuan bag wouldn't disappoint him. Master, destroying this skeleton isn't difficult at all. But Master, I want to give you something. In the future, even if you encounter the Space World Lord, it will be able to protect your life. Space Corp slave. Longao wasn't a fool. He naturally could guess what Long Fu meant. If he could really turn this skeleton into a Space Corp slave, then it would be a Space World Lord Corp slave. Just thinking about it made him excited. No matter if it was a soul slave or a corpse slave, their strength would surpass the original body. However, the strength of a corpse slave would definitely be inferior to a soul slave. Chapter 2013. Long Fu, how long do you need to refine it? He was very excited. Longao was very clear that once the skeleton was refined into a starry sky corpse slave, it would be of great help to him. At that time, he could ignore anyone below the Starry Sky Sector Lord. He could even fight against the Starry Sky Sector Lord. However, Longao knew what it meant to be refined by the Starry Sky Sector Lord. Even Long Fu wouldn't be able to do it that easily. Long Fu thought for a while and said, I don't know, but it should take a long time. I will try my best to refine it for you as soon as possible. Good. With Long Fu's help, Longao successfully got the skeleton. He had to admit that Longao's luck was too good. The skeleton alone couldn't refine a corpse slave. However, there was a wisp of primordial spirit remnant consciousness in the skeleton. Thus, although the corpse slave's power would be greatly reduced, it would be more than enough to kill anyone below the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor realm. He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Longao had a question in his mind. This cave was under the Universe Peak, and it was where the Universe Sector Lord was buried. Why didn't Ancestor Universe and Fengcheng find it? Something was wrong. However, since he had gotten what he wanted, there was no point in dwelling on it. Give me the universe back. Longao handed the universe bag to Long Fu and asked curiously, "What do you mean?" "That's right. When I refine the Universe Sector Lord into a corpse slave, he can use the universe bag. I believe it will be more powerful." Longao didn't have any objection to this. Thinking that he would soon have the corpse slave of the Universe Sector Lord, Longao was very excited. Losing more than 10,000 Starry Sky soul slaves wasn't in vain. If there was such a good thing, the remaining 10,000 Starry Sky soul slaves could also be lost. Longao left the cave. When he returned to the peak, night had fallen. Since he was here, he should go and see Fengxia. Fengxia's residence. Fengxia was a little depressed now. Everything was going according to her plan, but she didn't expect that Longao would come out of nowhere and mess up the whole thing. Even if Longao had the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, it wouldn't be his turn. I must obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. Even Fengxia couldn't resist such a temptation. However, she knew very well that she absolutely couldn't express her desire to obtain the Chaos Tablet. Otherwise, even the old ancestor and her father wouldn't agree. In front of the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet, even if they were father and daughter, it was all nonsense. Who? Fengxia's expression suddenly changed when she saw the young man who had suddenly come in. However, Fengxia was only a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Killing a grade 8 Starry Sky cultivator should have been more than enough. Only Longao's situation was different. Longao's strength could not be measured by common sense. Not to mention himself, even his father or the old ancestor would not be able to stop this person. Just thinking about it was a little hard to believe. Longao, you really aren't afraid of death. You actually dared to come. Fengxia didn't know what Longao was thinking. According to the logic of an ordinary person, it would be fine if they didn't run and hide. They definitely wouldn't enter the Chinquan sect. It would be like walking right into a trap. However, Longao had provoked them time and time again. He didn't put the Chinquan sect in his eyes at all. For the Chinquan sect, this was a complete humiliation, a great humiliation. Fengxia, since you chose me, then the grudge between us will have to be resolved eventually. What do you say? You're right, but I'm afraid you won't have the chance. Is that so? For some reason, looking at Fengxia at this moment, Longao had a bad feeling in his heart. Could Fengxia still have some tricks up her sleeve? That shouldn't be possible. Fengxia's strength was clear at a glance. She was only a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. She didn't need to use the Starry Sky Soul Slave Army. He could easily destroy Fengxia with his own strength. If he knew, then Fengxia must know as well. In that case, Fengxia was so fearless. Could it be that she had something to rely on? Are you afraid? Fengxia smiled faintly. She didn't put Longao in her eyes at all. Her attitude had taken a 180-degree turn. Before Longao could speak, the surrounding space suddenly began to compress and lock on. Astral boundary lock. Longao was completely stunned. Although he hadn't seen the true power of a Starry Sky Realm Lord, the divine mathematician had released the power of the astral boundary. It was a power that could destroy heaven and earth. Everyone couldn't move at all under this power. Longao didn't move, because he knew that he only had one chance. If he missed this opportunity, it would be extremely difficult for him to continue leaving. Fengxia was actually a Starry Sky Realm Lord. It was really unbelievable. No, Longao immediately realized that something was wrong. Fengxia was still exuding the aura of a grade 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Therefore, there was only one explanation for her being able to release the power of the astral boundary. She was a starry sky divine tool that could release the power of the astral boundary. Longao, I believe that you have already guessed it. When my master died, her primordial spirit was forced into a starry sky divine tool. Although she couldn't be reborn, it's more than enough to kill you. I didn't want to reveal this so early, but you are a dying man. It doesn't matter if you know. Feng Xia was full of confidence. Even if her master's original body had died, leaving only a trace of her primordial spirit remnant consciousness, she was still a starry sky realm lord. It would be easy for her to kill a grade 8 starry sky cultivator. This was the real reason why Feng Xia was so fearless. This was also her biggest secret. Even Ancestor Qinquan and Feng Cheng didn't know about it. Feng Xia, why don't we make a bet? I bet that you can't keep me here. What do you think? Hearing this, Feng Xia, who was full of confidence a moment ago, suddenly became serious. If it were someone else, she wouldn't be surprised. However, Longao's situation was too special. It was unimaginable that he could escape from the joint attack of 3 Starry Sky Territory ancestors. Until now, Feng Xia still didn't know how Longao did it. If he left this time, wouldn't her secret be exposed? Thinking of this, Feng Xia was clear that she had to kill Longao no matter what. She couldn't let him leave safely. Longao, you're really confident. In that case, I'll let you experience the real power of a Starry Sky Realm Lord. While talking, a Starry Sky Divine Tool appeared in Feng Xia's hand, releasing even more terrifying power of the astral boundary. P.S. Copy the first chapter. Chapter 2014. It was different. He didn't attack, nor did he turn around to leave. Feng Xia was overjoyed, thinking that Longao had been locked and couldn't move at all. Just as Feng Xia was preparing to attack further, Longao, who was still there just now, suddenly disappeared. It turned out that the power of the Star Realm couldn't stop Longao from entering the Dragon Seal space. This was also the reason why Longao dared to make a bet. Dumbfounded, Longao really left? She regretted it so much that she wanted to die. If she knew this would happen, she would have prepared the Star Realm Divine Tool in advance. Once the space was locked, even if the other party had 3 heads and 6 arms, he wouldn't be able to leave. From the beginning to the end, Feng Xia never thought that Longao would dare to step into the universe peak and appear in front of her openly. Hide. Feng Xia didn't plan to tell the old ancestor, her father, and Shunfeng about this. The reason was simple. Once this matter was leaked out, her master's matter would also be leaked out. At that time, not to mention the old ancestor and her father, just Shenfeng would definitely take action to snatch it. Devouring the primordial spirit of the Star Realm Lord, it was very likely that the Realm Lord's primordial spirit would break through to the Star Realm Lord. The Star Realm Lord was an absolute existence of a realm. No one could resist such a temptation. Longao didn't leave. Although the power of the Dragon Seal space was very strong, it couldn't be moved. According to Long Fu, this was because the Dragon Seal hadn't recovered yet. After Feng Xia left the room, Longao appeared and left. He didn't expect Feng Xia to have such a secret. If he didn't have the Dragon Seal, he would have been killed by Feng Xia. This woman wasn't simple. In another very luxurious room, seeing Feng Xia who suddenly came in, Shunfeng's face was filled with greed and wretchedness. Although he had seen countless beauties, none could compare to Feng Xia. Feng Xia's beauty was simply breathtaking. Xia, third prince. This time, Feng Xia only had one purpose, and that was to take the initiative to offer her body. Several hours later, third prince, you have my body. I have something to ask for your help. Each took what he needed. The third prince Shunfeng was not a fool. They were not even married yet, and Feng Xia could not wait to offer herself. She definitely had her own goals. He nodded and said, "Speak. As long as it is within my ability, I will definitely help you." Before getting Feng Xia, Shunfeng had only thought about it. Just as he really got it, Shunfeng found that he already had a feeling that he couldn't leave Feng Xia. Truth be told, Shunfeng did not know that Feng Xia had cultivated a secret technique in bed. This secret technique was undetectable. As time passed, Shunfeng would only end up as an obedient puppet. But now was definitely not the right time. Fang Xia smiled sweetly and said gently, Shun Feng, no matter what, you have to become the emperor of the heaven-devouring empire. Huh. He was startled. The third prince, Qin Feng, had never thought that he would become the emperor of the empire. This was because everyone knew that the candidate for the emperor had already appeared, and that was his older brother, the current crown prince. Xia, it's impossible for me to become the emperor. At this point, Shun Feng felt deeply helpless. At least he knew his place. After all, if he wanted to become the emperor, it was up to his father. He had no right to speak. Fang Xia's ambition was huge. How could she be willing to become a mere prince? It was because the third prince was easy to control. Once she controlled him, she would help the third prince seize power and become the new emperor of the heaven-devouring empire. At that time, she would be able to become the empress. The heaven-devouring empire's strength was needless to say. Once she took control of the heaven-devouring empire, no one would dare to disobey her. Fang Xia leaned against Shun Feng's ear and muttered something that no one knew what she was talking about. Qin Feng nodded his head vigorously. His face turned more and more vicious. The matter of Longao entering Qinkuan Peak was unknown. Furthermore, Fang Xia did not leak it. If ancestor Qinkuan and Fangqing knew about it, who knew what they would think? It would be a tragedy if they didn't know that the enemy had entered and exited Qinkuan Peak so openly. It would be a lie to say that he didn't feel heartache for the army of more than 10,000 universe soul slaves. Longao had decided that when he left the universe plane, he would find a chance to kill more starry sky cultivators to refine a massive army of starry sky soul slaves. At that time, he would be able to refine millions of starry sky soul slaves. At that time, even the 3 territory ancestors of Starry Sky couldn't stop him. However, it was not an easy task to refine a 1,000,000-strong Starry Sky soul slave army. Long Fu, is it easy to refine? Inside the Dragon Seal space, Longao knew how difficult it was to refine a Universe Realm Lord Corpse slave. If the Dragon Seal was at its peak, it wouldn't be a problem. But now, it would be troublesome. Long Fu also had a solemn expression and said helplessly, It is much more troublesome than I thought. However, Master, don't worry. I will do everything I can to help you refine this Starry Sky corpse slave. The biggest problem was that the primordial spirit was too little. It would be troublesome to refine it. If he could keep half of the primordial spirit, it would be easier to refine it. Longao didn't continue to attack Qinkuan's sect. Instead, he found a secluded place in Qinkuan Plain because he could clearly feel that his bottleneck had finally loosened. A Starry Sky Grade 8 cultivator, if he could go one step further, he would become a Starry Sky Grade 9 cultivator. Although it was only a promotion of 1 realm, the difference in strength was huge. After all, with Longao's current strength, it would be very difficult for him to defeat the Starry Sky Domain Lord. If he was not careful, he might even suffer a backlash. Once he broke through the Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, things would change completely. At that time, Longao had full confidence that he could even fight against a Starry Sky Domain Lord. As for Starry Sky Domain Emperor or Starry Sky Domain Emperor, he had no confidence at all. This was because Longao had a sure kill skill that could kill enemies of a higher level. If it was someone else, it would be almost impossible. Longao's sure kill skills were too powerful. Whether it was Shatter the Starry Sky, Reincarnation Heavenly Eye, or Reincarnation Sword, they were all terrifyingly powerful. Inside a nameless cave, Longao sat on the ground and the Starry Sky Domain appeared in front of him. As long as he could use his strength to suppress or even destroy the Starry Sky Domain, it would mean that his cultivation would break through from a level 8 Universe Cultivator to a level 9 Universe Cultivator. It was extremely simple to say, but it was a bit difficult to do. P.S. Copy the second chapter. Chapter 2015. Grade 9 Galaxy Cultivator. After a day and a night of cultivation, Longao finally broke through the Starry Sky Domain and advanced from a Grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator to a Grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator. The next step was to work hard towards becoming a Galaxy Lord. The current Qinkuan world was no longer the same as before. No one could enter, and many sects and families had chosen to leave the Qiankuren world to establish themselves in other worlds. The biggest reason was because of Longao and Qiankuren sect's massacre. Everyone was afraid. If they continued to stay in Qiankuren world, no one knew when they would die. No one wanted to live such a life of fear and worry. A public positional plane, once there were no starry sky cultivators coming in and out, would soon begin to slowly decline. At this moment, Qiankuren sect was lucky to have the third Prince Shanfeng around. Otherwise, if the other higher worlds started to attack Qiankuren world, it was obvious what would happen. Old ancestor Qiankuren and Feng Cheng were clear about this problem. It was just that they had not thought of a solution yet. The number of people in Qiankuren sect was decreasing. As for the reason, everyone knew. Longao is too much. Feng Cheng gritted his teeth. Longao did not want to go head-to-head with Qiankuren sect. Instead, he would sneak up on them and kill as many as he could. Based on the speed of his sneak attacks, Qiankuren sect would be wiped out in less than a year. Not only that, if Longao was like this, where would the sect's face be? Everyone was helpless. They had been guarding the surroundings, waiting for Longao to come out so that they could kill him in one shot. But the result? They could not even see Longao's hair. He came and went without a trace. This was not the way to go. The two territory ancestors that Shenfeng had brought with him did not expect such an outcome. A puny grade 8 galaxy cultivator dared to provoke Qiankuren sect time and time again. Even now, he knew that the third prince and they were in Qiankuren sect. However, he still did not care about them. What an arrogant kid. Old Black and Old White sat on the left and right sides of the mountain peak. Their auras enveloped the entire cosmos peak. Even so, Longao could still ambush and assassinate them. He didn't care about the auras of the two territory ancestors. Brother Hey, how do you think this kid did it? He must be relying on some powerful starry sky divine tool. I can only say that this kid is not simple. Even you and I cannot locate his whereabouts. This is a very troublesome matter. If it was a face-to-face fight, a puny grade 8 starry sky cultivator would not even enter their eyes. However, considering the current situation, the other party wouldn't come out at all. Despite having such powerful strength, he was nowhere to be seen. Both of them sighed deeply. At this moment, a figure flashed past. It was Longao. It wasn't just Old Black and Old White. Even Old Ancestor Situ He and Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth gave chase. The two of them knew that if Old Black and Old White were to discover Longao's secret, the two of them could forget about obtaining the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. This matter must be concealed. As soon as the four of them chased after him, Longao's figure appeared. The person who had lured the four of them away wasn't the real Longao. It was Longao's doppelganger, the reincarnation doppelganger. He came to the 9 heavens. The reincarnation sword appeared in Longao's hand. Reincarnation 36 styles. With the breakthrough in his cultivation, Longao had advanced from a grade 8 starry sky cultivator to a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Moreover, he had also successfully cultivated the 8th move of reincarnation, Reincarnation Lightning Strike. Longao wanted to test it out on Heaven and Earth sect. He wanted to see how powerful the Reincarnation Lightning Strike that he had just comprehended was. Longao's body moved. It looked messy, but in fact, it was orderly. In just a few seconds, Longao's reincarnation sword had slashed out countless times. 100 swords? 1,000 swords? A terrifying scene appeared. Countless reincarnation sword chi shot towards the Qiankuren peak at lightning speed. Before the people of Heaven and Earth sect could react, they had already suffered a devastating blow. They were caught off guard. Besides the experts of Starry Sky Master Realm and above, the rest were covered by the reincarnation sword chi. They were either dead or injured. However, more than 99% of them were killed by the reincarnation lightning strike. Longao, I'm going to kill you. Looking at how Longao was attacking the sect, Feng Cheng was thoroughly enraged. The destruction this time around was different from the previous ones. Most of them had already been killed. It wasn't something that could be done in a day or two if they wanted to recover from it. For the Qiankuren sect, this was a devastating blow. They couldn't figure out why Longao would suddenly appear here. The four territory ancestors had chased after Longao to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Soon, they understood what Longao wanted to do. He lured the four territory ancestors away to deal with Heaven and Earth sect. Wasn't Longao too arrogant? Even if the four territory ancestors were lured away, Heaven and Earth sect still had many Starry Sky Domain Lords, Starry Sky Emperors, and Starry Sky Domain Emperors. Even if he was a level 9 Starry Sky Cultivator, what could he do? In front of the mighty Heaven and Earth sect, he was still a joke. As soon as the order was given, more than 30 Starry Sky powerhouses suddenly appeared around them, and all of them rushed towards Longao. Even if Longao had full confidence in fighting against 30, he still had to leave quickly under such circumstances. With a swoosh, Longao's figure had already disappeared and entered the Dragon Seal space. The moment Longao disappeared, Feng Cheng realized that he was too angry and forgot that the other party had a space spirit artifact. By the time he took out the Starry Sky spirit artifact and prepared to interfere with the spatial fluctuations, he had already lost track of the other party. Looking at the destroyed Qinkuan Peak and the countless corpses that littered the ground, Feng Cheng's face was extremely grim. After this incident, Qinkuan sect could be said to have suffered a huge blow. If they wanted to recover, they would need at least a few decades to do so. A lunatic who wasn't afraid of anything. Was it worth it to provoke such a lunatic? Uncle, I've reported this to the Empire. I will do my best to ask the Empire to help you. How could they help? The Empire had sent 2 territory ancestors, but they couldn't kill Longao. Not only that, but their sect was also destroyed, with many casualties. Should they ask the Empire to send the Starry Sky Domain Lords? It was almost impossible. Feng Cheng had never thought about it. He said with a begrudging face, Longao's competence isn't that great. Actually, he has many Starry Sky divine tools and killing techniques. Even the forefathers couldn't do anything to him. P.S. Copy the 3rd chapter. Chapter 2016. Xin Feng was still in a daze. This had happened too suddenly. In less than a few minutes, the universe peak had been completely destroyed. The 4 territory ancestors couldn't catch up with the reincarnation clone, so they could only return. However, the result was, when they saw the situation of the universe peak, they understood what had happened. Longao had lured the tiger away from the mountain and attacked the universe sect. How did he do it? Did Longao have a clone technique? Feng Cheng, what happened? Universe ancestor clenched his fists, trying to suppress his anger. He couldn't figure out why Longao had taken advantage of the situation when Feng Cheng was guarding the sect. Anger. Monstrous anger. Now that the universe peak was in such a state, how could he explain it to the ancestors of the universe sect? If it was a powerful sect, it would be fine. However, the most speechless thing was that the other party was just a level 8 Starry Sky Cultivator, an ant. How could he answer? Feng Cheng said, Ancestor, I'm sorry. I didn't take care of the sect. Feng Cheng didn't want to say more, but Feng Xia told him everything that had just happened in detail. Feng Xia said helplessly, Ancestor, it's not my father's fault. Longao was too fast, and he used a Starry Sky divine weapon. Although he knew it wasn't Feng Cheng's fault, Universe Ancestor couldn't bear the anger. He hadn't been humiliated like this in 10,000 years. Longao, come out if you can. Why do you have to be so sneaky? Is it fun to lure the tiger away from the mountain? Longao? Did Longao dare to stay here? Just when everyone thought that Longao was gone, Longao's figure suddenly appeared and said with a smile, Very interesting, Ancestor Qinkuan. I can tell you clearly that this kind of thing will happen every other day in the future. I would like to see how you will resist it. Everyone was stunned. They had seen arrogant people, but they had never seen such an arrogant person. After destroying the universe peak, he didn't leave and even dared to threaten Universe Ancestor. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it. Longao, you're playing with fire. Xin Feng sneered and continued, Longao, seeing that it's not easy for you to cultivate, as long as you're willing to cripple your own cultivation, I can consider it. Get lost. Without waiting for Xin Feng to finish, Longao directly scolded. Had he been scolded? Yet, A puny grade 9 starry sky cultivator actually scolded him. Instantly enraged, Shinfeng ordered, Elder He, Elder Bai, kill this person for me. With the third prince's status, even if Old Black and Old White were the territory ancestors of the starry sky, they had to listen to the third prince. The reason was simple. The starry sky territory ancestor realm was a supreme existence in other places. However, in the entire sky-devouring empire, he was just a supreme existence. He couldn't cover the sky with one hand. According to the legends, Heaven-devouring empire had over 100 universal sector lords. What kind of concept was that? One could imagine the consequences of offending the third prince. Old Black and Old White rushed towards Longao. Before they arrived, their attacks had already arrived. Under the frenzied attacks, their intentions were very clear. They wanted to kill Longao directly. Whether it was the two of them or the third prince Shinfeng, none of them knew that Longao had the primal chaos stone tablet. If they had known, it was unknown if the three of them would still be like this. Humans were selfish. Situ He and Ancestor Heaven and Earth naturally wanted to obtain the primal chaos stone tablet alone. Once the news spread, not only Old Black and Old White, but also the heaven-devouring empire, even the other empires and planes would flock over. At that time, would the two of them still be able to obtain the primal chaos stone tablet? With Old Black and Old White's strength, even Longao didn't dare to casually go against them. He also didn't try to enter the Dragon Seal space. Longao was almost certain that the four of them had used their universal divine weapons to interfere with the space around him. Even he couldn't enter the Dragon Seal space. A head-on clash would only lead to death. However, at this time, Longao still wanted to test his strength. After all, a grade 8 Starry Sky Cultivator and a grade 9 Starry Sky Cultivator were two completely different concepts. The eighth move of Reincarnation Lightning Strike. Longao's speed soared to the extreme. The Reincarnation sword in his hand continuously slashed out. Reincarnation Sword Chi followed by Reincarnation Sword Chi were like lightning. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Their speed was simply too fast. The two cultivators, who had been preparing to close in on Longao, wanted to tear him to shreds. However, they suddenly saw a sky full of sword beams surging towards them. Even the two of them were shocked. They dared not face the sword beams head-on. Instead, they chose to dodge. The two of them were very clear that Longao was different from the others. Who knew what kind of tricks he would play? If there was some kind of trick in the sword chi, wouldn't the two of them be cheated? The Reincarnation Sword Chi was so dense that they had no choice but to face it head-on. The air shield released by the Starry Sky Territory Ancestor resisted the attack of the Reincarnation Sword Chi. Longao wasn't surprised at all because he had guessed that even though his cultivation base had reached grade 9, the eighth move of Reincarnation Lightning Strike, couldn't hurt the two Starry Sky Territory Ancestors at all. This was the absolute gap between their realms. Since he couldn't defeat them, he had to face them head-on. Holding the Reincarnation Sword, Longao dashed towards the crowd again. When he was about to reach them, Longao suddenly took out a tattered bag from his chest. A Chinkuan bag. It's a Chinkuan bag. Why do you have a Chinkuan bag? Looking at the Chinkuan bag in Longao's hand, Feng Cheng, Ancestor Chinkuan, and Feng Xia's faces changed completely. They were all too familiar with the Chinkuan bag that their sect had lost for countless years. This was the personal treasure of the first ancestor of the Chinkuan sect, the legendary Chinkuan bag. Uncle, Xia, do you mean that the tattered bag Longao suddenly took out is the Chinkuan bag of the Chinkuan sect? Even the third prince, Shinfeng, knew about the legend of the Chinkuan bag. Although the Chinkuan sect was no longer in the top 3, not to mention the Myriad Worlds realm, the first ancestor of the Chinkuan sect, the Chinkuan Realm Lord, was a famous existence in the past. As for how the Chinkuan Realm Lord died, it was still a mystery, a big mystery, a mystery that no one knew. Greed was written all over Shan Feng's face. If he could obtain this Starry Sky Divine tool, then even if he encountered a Starry Sky Domain Emperor, he would still have the strength to fight. However, for Xia who was beside him, he chose to give up. Because between the Chinkuan bag and Feng Xia, he would definitely choose Fangxia and not the Qinkuan bag. Third prince, help me get the Qinkuan bag back, please. P.S. I don't know what happened today, but my right finger joint is inflamed. I have been resting after drinking medicine. I originally planned to write 3 chapters today, but I didn't tell everyone. I gritted my teeth and wrote 1 chapter. I will see how it is tomorrow. If it is better, it will explode tomorrow. Chapter 2017. The Qinkuan bag was the most precious treasure of the Qinkuan sect. How could it fall into the hands of Longao? Until now, no one could figure out how Longao had gotten the Qinkuan bag. If this matter spread out, the Qinkuan sect would lose face. How could the third prince, Shenfeng, refuse a beauty's request? Shenfeng nodded and said with a smile, "Don't worry. I'll help you get the Qinkuan bag back." Old Hey, old Bai, get the Qinkuan bag. Longao's space was disturbed. He couldn't enter the spatial divine device. He would die for sure. Since that was the case, they had to get the Qinkuan bag first. Old Hey and Old Bai cursed in their hearts. What did the Qinkuan bag have to do with them? However, since the third prince had spoken, even if they didn't want to, they had to do it. The power of the Qinkuan bag was obvious. If the Qinkuan bag was in the hands of the Qinkuan realm lord or another starry sky territory ancestor, they could just run away. But now, they didn't put Longao in their eyes. So what if he had the Qinkuan bag? Longao was just a level 9 starry sky cultivator. He couldn't exert the power of the Qinkuan bag. Old Hey and Old Bai attacked Longao from the left and right. They tried to get the Qinkuan bag. He sneered. The mouth of the Qinkuan bag became bigger and bigger. It started to suck in Old Hey and Old Bai. The two, who didn't put Longao and the Qinkuan bag in their eyes, felt the suction force and their faces changed. Was this the power of a level 9 starry sky cultivator? They looked at each other and made up their minds. Not only them, but Situ He and Ancestor Qinkuan also came to Old Hey and Old Bai. The 4 starry sky territory ancestors attacked at the same time. The Qinkuan bag couldn't withstand their attacks and Longao was sent flying. The 4 weren't surprised at all. They knew that Longao was just a level 9 starry sky territory ancestor. If he continued to break through and reach the starry sky territory ancestor realm, they wouldn't be able to defeat Long even if they joined forces. Such a thing was simply inconceivable. However, Longao's talent and strength were indeed unbelievable. The only way was to eliminate the source of the problem. With that thought, the 4 territory ancestors attacked crazily one more time. They didn't give Longao a chance to breathe. He had to leave. If he continued to stay, he wouldn't be able to gain anything. Longao turned around and left. Borrowing the speed of his teleportation, Longao's speed soared to an extreme. Third prince. Seeing Longao walking further and further away, Fangxia was completely flustered. If Longao ran away at this time, once he chose to hide, it would be impossible to find traces of this person. The vast starry sky was boundless. Putting aside the Qinkuan sect, even the entire heaven-devouring empire might not have the confidence to find a single person. However, Shenfeng sneered. Just as Shenfeng was about to make a move, Longao, who had just run away, suddenly returned at this time. Not only was Shenfeng a little curious, even Old Hey and the other 3 were a little puzzled. Why did Longao return? Could it be that Longao was really so confident? Fangxia, since you have the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master, why didn't you ask him to deal with me? The remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master? What was going on? Everyone looked at Fangxia because they knew clearly what it meant to have the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. With the strength of the starry sky realm master, as long as his primordial spirit wasn't destroyed, he could definitely use the remnant consciousness to come back to life. If what Longao said was true, then Fangxia had the help of the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. Was this true? Fangxia didn't panic at all. This matter had to be kept a secret. Not to mention the third prince and the others, even the old ancestor and her father had to keep it a secret. This was the reality. No one could guarantee that no one would have evil intentions towards the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. At that time, If her father or the old ancestor wanted to devour the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master, what should she do? Hand it over? Or not? The best way was to keep it a secret. Feng Xia smiled. Longao, you don't have to do this. Father and the old ancestor know whether I have the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master or not. You don't have to sow discord here. Today, you are dead for sure. Longao didn't explain too much because he knew that the more he explained, the more they wouldn't believe him. If he stopped here, there would be a knot in their hearts. At this moment, the third prince suddenly smiled. Longao, you really don't have to sow discord. Let's not talk about whether Xia has the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. Even if she does, so what? That is where Xia's opportunity lies. Would we kill each other because of a single sentence from you? What a joke. If it was anyone else, the third prince wouldn't hesitate to attack. Although the heaven-devouring empire had over 100 starry sky realm masters, it was almost impossible for him to devour the godhead or remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. In other words, the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master was a fatal temptation to Shen Feng. However, Feng Xia had the remnant consciousness of the starry sky realm master. Shen Feng didn't even think about it. Feng Xia was still his fiancée. Old ancestor Qin Kuan, do you know how I got the Qin Kuan pouch? Everyone who was about to attack suddenly heard Longao's words. Old ancestor Qin Kuan stopped everyone and asked seriously, how did you get it? His intuition told him that it wasn't that simple. Everyone knew that the Qin Kuan pouch was the treasure of the first old ancestor of the Qin Kuan sect. Now that Longao had the Qin Kuan pouch, what did it mean? Not only old ancestor Qin Kuan, but everyone, including Shen Feng and the other two, thought of something. Qin Kuan Realm Master. 4 simple words caused old ancestor Qin Kuan's face to change. He had already guessed it. He asked, Longao, where's the old ancestor? Where have you seen the old ancestor? Unbelievable. The first old ancestor of the Qin Kuan sect had died for no reason. Till now, no one knew how the first old ancestor died. After countless years of searching, the Qin Kuan sect still couldn't find him. Longao, where is the old ancestor? He's dead. Dead? Nonsense. How could they not know that the old ancestor was dead? They were just curious. How did Longao get the Qin Kuan pouch? If that was the case, wouldn't he have seen the corpse of the old ancestor? At the thought of this, old ancestor Qin Kuan couldn't wait any longer. He said, Longao, if you can hand over the corpse of the old ancestor, we can let you go and forget about the grudges between us. How about it? Feng Xia was helpless. In front of the corpse of the old ancestor Qin Kuan was already in a mess. P.S. My joints are much better now. Little Nine will try his best to update more today. Everyone, please don't scold me. Little Nine feels that I'm working very hard. Heis. Chapter 2018. Would Longao agree? If Longao was willing to compromise, he wouldn't be Longao. If you guys continue, I'll destroy the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord. Could it be that Longao really got the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord? Longao, you're playing with fire. Anger. Ancestor Heaven and Earth couldn't figure out where Longao got the universe bag and the corpse of the old ancestor. Attack? Or not? If the corpse of the first-generation old ancestor of Qin Kuan sect was really destroyed by Longao, he would be a sinner of Qin Kuan sect. However, if he didn't kill Longao for the corpse, wouldn't he be able to obtain the Primal Chaos Stone Tablet? Primal Chaos Stone Tablet. If it was just Longao, Ancestor Heaven and Earth would really let him go. After all, he didn't care about Longao's life. The only thing he cared about was the corpse of the old ancestor. However, the situation was different now. The Primal Chaos Stone Tablet was a legendary weapon that could help one break through to the Universe Dominator level. If he gave it up, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Thinking of this, Ancestor Heaven and Earth gritted his teeth and said coldly, kill. Under his command, the 4 Universe Territory ancestors attacked at the same time. This time, they used all their strength and prepared to kill in one strike. But the result? The reincarnation doppelganger came out quickly. 1 against 4, he resisted the attack. With a smile, Longao turned around and left quickly. With the help of the speed of spatial teleportation, his figure disappeared without a trace in a short while. 4 against 1. The four of them attacked the reincarnation doppelganger crazily. In just a few minutes, they forced the reincarnation doppelganger to retreat. If it wasn't for the reincarnation doppelganger's strong defense, he would have died. Not long after Longao disappeared, the reincarnation doppelganger also disappeared. They were dumbfounded. Was that Longao's doppelganger? It should be. However, even the universe realm lord can't condense a doppelganger. The four of them could not understand. With Longao's strength, he was actually able to condense his own doppelganger. Moreover, the doppelganger's strength was so strong. Especially its defense, it was even more abnormal. He could not figure it out. Longao has too many secrets on him. If only we could capture him. Old Black and Old White were also feeling greedy. Although they didn't know about the Chaos Tablet, if they could obtain Longao's other secrets, it would be a very good thing. Universe Peak. Now that the Cosmos Peak had been completely destroyed, it wasn't difficult to rebuild it. However, it would be difficult to restore its vitality. It would take at least 8 to 10 years. Sia, do you really have the remnant consciousness of the Starry Sky Sector Lord? Hearing the third prince's question, Fong Xia didn't continue to hide the truth. She nodded with an aggrieved expression. 1 year, my life was in danger. At the moment of life and death, Master saved me and sealed his Yuan spirit's remnant consciousness in the Starry Sky Divine Artifact. So that was the case. Sia, what are you going to do? Master's kindness to me is as heavy as a mountain. I will definitely think of a way to revive him. I will definitely help you. Even Shun Feng himself did not know that as time slowly passed, his mind seemed to have slowly begun to be controlled by Fong Xia. Otherwise, how could he have agreed so quickly at this time? Longao still didn't leave the universe plane. If he didn't settle this debt, he wouldn't leave. Now, Longao was waiting for the Starry Sky Sector Lord's corpse to be refined successfully. At that time, it would be easy for him to slaughter the entire universe sect. The difficulty of refining it was relatively high. According to Long Fu, he hadn't even refined 1/1000 of it. What did this mean? No matter how fast it would take at least 3 months or even a year. If his luck wasn't good, it might even take 8 to 10 years. At the peak of a nameless mountain, Longao looked at the 7-star pearl in his hand. He thought about the 7 mysterious spaces, which meant that they were the 7 mysterious planes. When he obtained the 7-star pearl, it was due to luck. Why don't I search for the 7 mysterious planes first? He didn't know anything about the 7 mysterious planes, nor did he know what secrets they held. He didn't know if they were mid-level planes, high-level planes, or low-level planes. Longao was clear that with his current strength, it would be difficult for him to fight against Qinquan sect. Even if he continued to stay, it would be useless. Other than killing some disciples, it would be impossible for him to kill Feng Cheng and the others. Since that was the case, why not take a step back and see what was going on with the 7 mysterious spaces? He tried to inject his soul power into the 7-star pearl. Shortly after, Longao felt his soul leave his body and get sucked into the 7-star pearl. A 7-colored mysterious space. Longao looked around and felt that something wasn't right. Were the 7 mysterious planes within the 7-star pearl? That didn't seem possible. 7-star pearl, planes descended. Longao just heard this sentence in his mind and his soul was sent out. What did that mean? The 7-star pearls connected and the plane descended. Immediately after, the 7-star pearls emitted a strange power. Feeling this strange power, Longao's heart was suddenly happy. He stood up, held the 7-star pearls in his hand, and directly flew towards the entrance. After leaving Universe Plane, Longao sensed the aura of the 7-star pearl and headed east. In a place not far from the Qinquan Plane, in the vast starry sky that was originally empty, 7 planes suddenly appeared. Moreover, they were connected to each other like conjoined twins. This was the alignment of the 7 stars. The plane had descended. Longao could almost be sure that his primordial spirit had entered the seven stars pearl, thus opening the seven planes. Otherwise, the seven planes would not have appeared earlier or later, but at this time. The seven star pearls and the simultaneous appearance of the seven planes had completely alarmed the entire vast starry sky. Countless people swarmed over, but unfortunately, no one was able to step into it. The reason was very simple. Without the seven star pearls key to open the seven planes, everything was in vain. Brother Long, I'm so happy to see that you're fine. Seeing an old acquaintance, Longao was pleasantly surprised. He asked, Jime, what's going on? Looking at the seven huge planes, Jime exclaimed, they disappeared for countless years. I didn't expect them to appear at this time. I wonder if the vast space is going to change. Spray of Plum Blossom didn't know that the appearance of the seven planes was related to Longao. If he knew, Spray of Plum Blossom would probably be scared to death. The seven planes had disappeared for countless years, and it seemed like they were about to be forgotten by people. P.S. Chapter 2 sent here. Chapter 2019. Tell me, what's going on? Although he had already obtained the seven stars bead, Longao could be said to know nothing about the matters of the seven planes. Brother Long, you don't know. Countless years ago, seven powerful starry sky realm lords appeared in the seven dimensions. However, for some reason, the seven starry sky realm lords chose to seal themselves, and the seven dimensions disappeared. He was shocked. Seven powerful starry sky realm lords. Ijime. Have the seven starry sky realm lords fallen? I don't know. Don't know? Longao suddenly smiled mysteriously. He used his spiritual sense to briefly explain the matter of him obtaining the seven-star pearl. F***CK. Perhaps because he was too agitated. Spray of Plum Blossom cursed. Ijime, you're too agitated. Brother Long, don't tell anyone about you obtaining the seven-star pearl. Otherwise, you'll be in big trouble. How could Longao not know what Ijime was trying to say? Seven-star pearls. The dimensions descended. Seven dimensions had seven starry sky realm lords. If he obtained the key to the seven-star pearl, he would definitely attract a lot of trouble. At that time, he would really become a public enemy. Such a thing must never happen. Brother Long, what are you going to do? Ijime was very clear that since Ao Long had the seven-star pearl, there was no doubt that Ao Long would definitely open the seven planes. However, if he opened the seven dimensions at this time, there would definitely be trouble. After thinking for a while, Longao said, I'll think of a way to open the seven dimensions. Ijime, follow me into the seven dimensions. If we're lucky, you'll get one of the starry sky realm Lord God sparks. He was pleasantly surprised. Ijime knew that Longao wouldn't lie to him. If he could really get the starry sky realm Lord God sparks, wouldn't it mean that he would have a chance to become a starry sky realm lord in the future? He was excited just thinking about it. Looking at Ijime's expression, Longao felt helpless. It seemed like the allure of the starry sky realm lord was simply too great. The two of them didn't immediately open up the seven realms because the seven realms were now completely surrounded by a sea of people. Wouldn't it be asking for trouble if they opened up the seven realms now? Heaven and Earth sect also received the news. Seven universal world lords. There was a high chance that it was the godhood of seven universal world lords. Such a temptation was something that even the Chinkuan sect couldn't resist. Without a doubt, it wasn't just those from the Chinkuan sect. Even the third prince and the other two were rushing over to the seven planes. Seven stars aligned, and the plane descended. For countless years, many people had been searching for the alignment of seven stars, but to no avail. Who would have thought that the alignment of seven stars would appear in this world? The pavilion closest to the water enjoys the moonlight first. Around the seven plains, there were people everywhere. At a glance, there was a sea of people. Chinkuan sect. From afar, Longao discovered the traces of the heaven and earth sect people. Brother Long, what do you want? Take a risk and I'll open up the seven plains. At that time, I'll lure the Chinkuan sect people in. Even though Longao hadn't entered any of the seven worlds before, He could clearly sense that the seven worlds were far from simple, but it didn't matter. If he could make use of the seven worlds to kill Chinkuin's sect and the others, that would be pretty decent as well. Longao's arrogance and strength were things that Jimei had witnessed personally. Naturally, he wouldn't have any doubts. Looking at the three people beside Chinkuin's sect, Jimei asked, "What about the third Prince Shinfeng?" Chinkuin's sect didn't care. As long as they could get rid of the roots, no one would come looking for trouble. But the third Prince Shinfeng was different. After all, he had the entire heaven-devouring empire behind him. How could Longao not know what Jimei meant? His face was extremely cold. Longao said coldly, "If you don't get rid of the roots, they'll grow again." These simple words were enough to express Longao's attitude. Jimei was shocked. "Brother Long, are you sure you want to kill Shinfeng? If the heaven-devouring empire finds out about this, we'll be in big trouble." Spray of Plum Blossom didn't say you, but we. This was enough to explain Spray of Plum Blossom's meaning. If Longao insisted on killing Shinfeng, he would support him without hesitation. A friend like this was worth having. "Jimei, I know what you mean, but have you thought about whether Shinfeng will let us go if we don't get rid of the roots?" Jimei didn't need to reply. He knew the consequences of this. If Shinfeng really survived, the two of them would be in big trouble. Jimei didn't continue asking. He had already agreed. Since they had already offended the Chinkuin sect and the third prince, there was no need for them to be polite. "Brother Long, are we going to open up the seven plains just like that? Hide by the side. Remember, don't come out." Before Jimei could react, Longao darted out. Chinkuin's sect quickly discovered Longao's tracks. Before anyone could make a move, Longao said, "Old ancestor Chinkuin, since you have the seven-star pearl, why don't you open up the seven plains?" Everyone who was waiting to watch a good show was shocked when they heard Longao's words. They turned to look at the Chinkuin sect. No one had expected the seven-star pearl to be with old ancestor Chinkuin. At this moment, no one moved. No one could be sure if Longao was speaking the truth. No matter what, Longao had a grudge with Chinkuin's sect. No one could be sure that Longao wasn't trying to get someone else to do his dirty work. What if that was the case? "Old ancestor Chinkuin, do you have the seven-star pearl with you? If you do, why don't you take it out? When the time comes, we'll fight for the godhood with our own abilities. It's impossible for you to keep it all to yourself." Do you guys believe his words? Ancestor Chinkuin's face was gloomy to the extreme. How could he not know Longao's intention? Longao wanted to kill him with a borrowed knife. However, Ancestor Chinkuin was not worried at all. With the third prince by his side, he believed that no one would dare to act rashly. After all, no one was sure that the seven stars bead was with him. At this moment, Shinfeng suddenly said, "I believe everyone knows about the grudge between Longao and Chinkuin's sect. Therefore, I can guarantee that the seven-star pearl isn't with old ancestor Chinkuin or anyone else. If I'm not wrong, the seven-star pearl should be with Longao. Am I right, Longao? P.S. Little Nine will take a day off from everyone. If his joints hurt too much, he'll rest for a night. Tomorrow, he'll try his best." Chapter 2020. Who was Shinfeng? He was the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. Would he lie? Many people didn't believe Longao's words. However, they didn't believe that Longao had the seven-star pearl either. The reason was simple. Longao had a grudge with the Heaven and Earth sect. He would do this on purpose to kill them with a borrowed knife. But what about the Heaven and Earth sect? He would definitely do the same. In order to kill Longao, he would not hesitate to borrow a knife to kill him. Everyone retreated. It was clear that they didn't want to get involved in other people's business. Seeing this, the Heaven and Earth sect members heaved a sigh of relief. They would rather the people around them not move than to believe Longao's words. "Longao, how dare you slander us? You should know whether it's slander or not. I just feel that it's not worth it for them. You have the seven-star pearl and can open the seven worlds. Yet, you want to enter alone." What did he mean? The more Longao acted like this, the more their hearts sank. Could it be that Ancestor Heaven and Earth really had the seven-star pearl? Let's wait and see. If it was just the heaven and earth sect, they wouldn't mind offending them for the sake of the 7 worlds. However, the third prince, Shunfeng, was behind the heaven and earth sect. No one was willing to offend the third prince because they knew that offending him was equivalent to offending the heaven-devouring empire. Offending the heaven-devouring empire was a path to death. Ancestor heaven and earth, you guys are really something. You can't even deal with Longao, and you want to become the overlord of the myriad worlds? What a joke. The one who spoke was Ancestor Black Wind from the Black Wind Ridge. He had reached the peak of the territory Ancestor realm, and his strength was above Ancestor heaven and earth. Hearing Ancestor Black Wind's words, Ancestor heaven and earth snorted. He didn't reply because this wasn't the time to fall out with the Black Wind Ridge. For some reason, Ancestor heaven and earth had a feeling that the 7 worlds had something to do with Longao. Although this sounded a little ridiculous, there were too many secrets in this matter. Longao, hand over the ancestor's corpse and I can consider letting you go for now. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving this place alive. A threat. It was a blatant threat. However, old Ancestor Chinkuan had the capability to threaten them. After all, the strength of old Ancestor Chinkuan and the entire Chinkuan sect was still there. Hearing the words of Ancestor heaven and earth, the surrounding people were shocked. There seemed to be only one person who could be addressed as Old Ancestor by the Heaven and Earth Ancestor. That was the legendary first-generation Old Ancestor of the Heaven and Earth sect, the Heaven and Earth World Master. He was an invincible existence who had dominated the world back then. Did Longao really take away the corpse of the Universe Realm Lord? If this was true, then it would be a little shocking. Now that his corpse was snatched away, Heaven and Earth sect had really lost all their face. Longao took out a corpse from the dragon seal space. There was no need for words. Actions spoke louder than words. Ancestor's corpse? Sensing it, Ancestor Heaven and Earth was certain that the corpse in Longao's hands was indeed from the old ancestor. Till now, Ancestor Heaven and Earth still could not figure out how Longao managed to get his hands on it. He had been searching for so many years, but he had no clue at all. What Ancestor Heaven and Earth did not know was that the corpse of the old ancestor that he had been searching for was right under his nose. However, he had never expected that the safest place would be the place where the corpse was buried. If Ancestor Heaven and Earth were to find out about this, what would his expression be? Longao, hand it over and I'll write off the grudge between us. After you hand over the corpse, I'll take my time to settle this with you. But would Longao believe him? Lin Fan scoffed coldly. Ancestor Heaven and Earth, do you think that I'll believe you? What do you want? He was thoroughly enraged. Not to mention the mocking and disdain that came from all around. The corpse of the old ancestor could not fall into the hands of Longao. He had to return it to the sect. Otherwise, he would be the sinner of Heaven and Earth sect. Ancestor Heaven and Earth, you must want to know where I got this corpse from, right? Although he did not speak, the expression on Ancestor Heaven and Earth's face told everyone that he wanted to know. To tell you the truth, I found this corpse under the Cosmos Peak. Are you telling the truth? Why would I lie to you? The surrounding people nearly burst out laughing. Not only did they fail to find it right under their noses, Longao even beat them to it. The most exasperating thing was that Longao had entered Heaven and Earth Peak without anyone noticing. What were they doing here? Disgrace. Great disgrace. Whether it was Ancestor Chinkuan or Chinkuan sect, at this moment, everyone despised them to the extreme. They had been played around by a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Moreover, when Longao had dealt with Chinkuan sect, he had not been a grade 9 starry sky cultivator, but a grade 8 one. Longao, you've gone too far. I've gone too far. Longao suddenly laughed. Before Ancestor Heaven and Earth could speak, he continued, when we entered Heaven and Earth's secret realm, Fang Xia was almost raped by Shen Feng. I appeared in time to stop it. I didn't want to be the hero to save the damsel in distress. I just couldn't stand some shameless people who thought they could do whatever they wanted with their status. But what happened in the end? Longao, you. He ignored the murderous look in Shen Feng's eyes and Fang Xia's darkening face. Longao smiled and continued. Feng Xia led me to the starry sky area over God Divine Core and successfully left the secret territory of heaven and earth. I believe many people already know what happened after that. I would like to ask, am I the shameless one, or is Qinkuan sect the shameless one? You, Ancestor Qinkuan, are the shameless ones? You are the one who tried to kill me time and time again. What a joke, what a joke. So that was it. Everyone had always been very curious. They didn't know what was going on. So there was such a thing in the universe's secret realm. No one doubted Longao's words. 100% of the people chose to believe it. Because when they saw the expression on Shunfeng and Feng Xia's face, they already knew that this matter was true. But even so, what could they do? Strength represented everything. In the vast universe, strength reigned supreme. If you had strength, you could do whatever you wanted. But if you didn't have strength, then sorry, no matter what you did, it would be wrong. Even though it was right, it was wrong. This was reality. It was cruel. Longao, you're courting death. Old Black, Old White, kill this man for me. Xinfeng was thoroughly enraged. To him, this was a humiliation. P.S. Delivery of the first chapter. Wake up at 6:30 a.m. Try to complete the mission earlier and rest earlier. Chapter 2021. Third Prince Xinfeng was enraged. Old Black and Bai Ling were shocked as well. They had not expected such a thing to happen in the Qiankuan secret region. This had to end here. Otherwise, not only the Third Prince and Qiankuan sect, but also the reputation of the heaven-devouring empire would be tarnished. Just as Old Black and Old White were about to strike, Longao grabbed the corpse and sneered, "If you dare to take a step forward, I'll crush this corpse." Hold on. Old Ancestor Qiankuan, are you trying to stop us? Seeing Ancestor Heaven and Earth standing in front of them, both Senior Black and Senior White's faces darkened to the extreme. To protect the reputation of the Third Prince and the heaven-devouring empire, they would not hesitate to deal with Old Ancestor Qiankuan and Qiankuan sect. They did not care about Qiankuan sect at all. This was bad. Old Ancestor Qiankuan knew what they were thinking, but the corpse was more important. Old Ancestor Qiankuan looked at Feng Xia. At this moment, only Feng Xia could persuade the Third Prince. No matter how strong Old Black and Old White were, they had to listen to the Third Prince. Third Prince Shunfeng suppressed his anger. He knew how important the corpse was to Qiankuan sect. He waved his hand. Third Prince, come back. Old Black and Old White had a helpless look on their faces. Following such a master was simply a kind of tragedy. Longao, you better watch your mouth. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. Is that so? Longao smiled and ignored them. Old Ancestor Qiankuan, you better not interfere with the space ripples. Otherwise, I'll destroy the corpse. Ever since Longao appeared, Old Ancestor Qiankuan had been interfering with the space ripples with the help of the space ripples. He was afraid that Longao would enter the space ripples. He could not let anything happen to the corpse of the old ancestor. He retracted the space ripples. The next second after Old Ancestor Qiankuan retracted the space ripples, the situation changed. The skeleton in Longao's hand was instantly crushed, and Longao instantly disappeared from where he stood. He was dumbfounded. Old Ancestor Qiankuan wasn't the only one who was dumbfounded. Everyone from Qiankuan sect was dumbfounded as well. Even the surrounding crowd was dumbfounded. Longao's actions meant that he was going to fight to the death with Qiankuan sect. Crushing the bones of other people's ancestors was no longer a simple humiliation. Longao, I'm going to tear you to pieces. However, Longao's figure had disappeared. No matter how angry Ancestor Heaven and Earth was, he could not find any trace of Longao. Everyone was pleasantly surprised because Longao was simply too arrogant. They had never seen such an arrogant person before. About 2 hours later, everyone had already forgotten about this matter. What did the anger of Qiankuan sect have to do with him? Everyone was just there to watch a good show. They only had one main task, and that was to do everything they could to open the 7 planes and enter them. Longao took the opportunity to leave. Looking at the sudden appearance of Longao, Spray of Plum Blossom gulped down his saliva. Even now, he was still in disbelief. Brother Long, you're really... He did not know how to describe it because Longao's actions were simply unbelievable. Spray of Plum Blossom had not expected Longao to do something like this. In front of everyone from Chinquan sect, he crushed the corpse of the Chinquan realm lord. This was something that was unbelievable. Spray of Plum Blossom, I know what you mean. Even if I don't destroy the corpse of the Chinquan realm lord, Chinquan sect will not let me off. Even if I destroy the corpse of the Chinquan realm lord, Chinquan sect will not let me off. The outcome will be the same. Even so, this was still too vicious. However, Spray of Plum Blossom liked Longao's actions. He was extremely arrogant. Brother Long, Chinquan sect is currently searching for you. What should we do? Spray of Plum Blossom could not wait to enter the Seven Plains. The godhoods and inheritances of the Seven World Lords were simply too tempting. Even Spray of Plum Blossom couldn't resist it. Let's go right now. Longao smiled mysteriously as he summoned out a soul slave from the dragon seal space. Handing over the 7-star bead, the two of them turned into passers-by. Longao's intention was simple. He wanted to use the soul slave to open up the Seven Plains. That way, no one would be able to link this matter to him. The speed of the soul slave was extremely fast. Arriving before the Seven Plains, he took out the 7-star bead and opened them up. Boom, boom, boom. The speed of the Starry Sky Soul Slaves was simply too fast. Before anyone could react, the Seven Plains had already been opened. The Chinquan sect and the others, who were trying their best to search for Longao, saw that the Seven Plains had been opened by a mysterious person. They no longer cared about the others and entered the Seven Plains first. The fact that there were 7 entrances to the Seven Plains meant that the choice of which plane to enter was extremely important. If they were lucky, they might be able to obtain a World Lord God's godhood. If they were unlucky, they might not even be able to find a single strand of hair, let alone the World Lord God's godhood. Countless people surged into the 7 entrances. That was to say, the 7 planes. 1, 2, 3. It was impossible to tell how many starry sky cultivators there were. At first glance, they were densely packed. This was just the starry sky cultivators of one world. If they attracted people from other worlds, or even other empires, the number would be astronomical. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators were definitely there. Longao and Zhizhi blended into the crowd and entered the 3rd entrance, which was the 3rd plane. Everyone was rushing in madly, and no one noticed Longao at all. Just like that, Longao and Zhizhi entered without anyone noticing. They even took back the 7-star bead from the soul slave. His instincts told him that the 7-star bead must have some use for it. Every time it was opened, it would only last for tens of minutes. In other words, once the 7 planes were opened, they would close automatically. After a month or a year, they would open again. By then, whether or not the people were willing to leave, they would be teleported out. If they wanted to enter the 7 planes again, they would have to use the 7-star bead key to open them again. As for how long the 7 planes would stay open this time, no one knew. Those who arrived later could only watch as the entrances to the 7 planes closed. Unable to enter, they were somewhat indignant. Many of them were attacking the 7 planes madly, but in the end, it was all to no avail. As for the Heaven-Devouring Empire and the other empires, they only sent people over symbolically. When they realized that the entrances were closed, they returned the way they came. In the eyes of these powerful empires, the 7 planes weren't enticing enough. After all, each empire had at least hundreds of world lords. P.S. Send the 2nd chapter here. Chapter 2022. 7 Planes. Longao and Zhizhi chose to enter the 3rd plane. The reason was simple. Chinquan sect, 3rd Prince Shunfeng, and the others also chose to enter the 3rd dimension. If it was anyone else, they would have stopped since they knew that they were no match for the enemy. Only Longao stared at them. Anyway, he wouldn't stop until he killed Heaven and Earth sect. Heaven and Earth sect was speechless. They had seen people who weren't afraid of death, but they had never seen such a person. He knew that he was going to die, but he was like a moth to a flame. Sia, do you think Longao will enter the seven planes? Definitely. There was almost no need to ask. Feng Xia was already certain that Longao would definitely enter the seven planes. If Longao didn't enter, then he wouldn't be Longao. And if Longao really dares to enter, then I will make sure that he can't leave. Is that true? Although Feng Xia didn't say anything, she didn't agree. It would be a tragedy if she relied on the third prince. She had to rely on herself. Feng Xia had already made her decision to deal with Longao personally. At that time, not only would she get all the secrets on Longao, but she would also get the legendary Chaos Stone Tablet. Everyone was selfish. In front of the Chaos Stone Tablet, not to mention the third prince, even her father had no room for negotiation. What they didn't know was that Longao and Gigi Mei had been following them. As Longao hid his aura too well, they didn't notice him at all. Actually, no one expected that Longao would follow them. Longao had already crushed the corpse of the Qinkuan Realm Lord. This was already an irreconcilable situation between him and the Qinkuan sect. The moment they met, they would definitely fight to the death. Brother Long, are we really going to attack? But leave me first. Remember, don't go too far. We will keep in contact. Gigi Mei obviously knew what Longao meant. He didn't want to drag him down. Brother Long, you are looking down on me. That's not what I meant. My speed is really fast and I have a spatial item. They can't do anything to me. Do you understand? So that was the case. Gigi Mei told Lin Fan to be careful and headed to the left. Even if he couldn't help, he definitely couldn't be a burden to Longao. After Gigi Mei was far away, Longao's lips curled into a cold smile. Heaven and Earth sect had to pay the price. Longao did not choose to meet force with force. He was still very self-aware. Reincarnation, incarnation. Longao? The four territory ancestors of the Starry Sky territory chased after him. They didn't remember the lesson because Longao had used his reincarnation clone to lure them away and destroy the Heaven and Earth sect. Now that he had done it again, the four of them still fell for it. Just as the four of them left, Longao's figure appeared. He said with a smile, "Everyone, welcome to my territory." Your territory? The people here weren't fools. Once they heard Longao's words, they guessed something. Could it be that Longao was the one who opened the seven planes? Longao, are you really that arrogant? Feng Cheng was shocked. He didn't know what Longao wanted. Could it be that Longao lured the four universe territory ancestors away to deal with him? Wasn't that a joke? Feng Cheng, blood for blood. You. This time, Feng Cheng didn't come alone. He had brought more than 100 cultivators from Heaven and Earth sect. Among them, there were 2 Universal Region Emperors, more than 20 Universal Region Emperors, and 1 Universal Region Lord. They could easily kill Longao. Longao kept retreating. Then, tens of thousands of Starry Sky soul slaves swarmed out, giving everyone a scare. How did Longao do that? More than 10,000 Universal Soul Slaves attacked crazily, dividing the 100 cultivators. However, Feng Xia was smart. She followed the third prince closely. She couldn't miss this chance to show off. Feng Xia, we have to settle the grudge between us today. You. The third prince Shunfeng and Feng Xia were currently dual cultivating. In just a few days, Feng Xia's cultivation had already successfully broken through to the Starry Sky Domain Lord realm. In other words, whether it was Feng Xia or Shunfeng, they were both Starry Sky Domain Lords. If Longao had faced off against a Starry Sky Domain Lord in the past, it would have been a little troublesome. However, Longao's cultivation had increased from a Starry Sky cultivator to a Starry Sky cultivator. Therefore, he was confident that he would be able to defeat 2 Starry Sky cultivators alone. End the battle quickly. Although the Universal Soul Slaves could delay Feng Cheng and the others for a while, they couldn't hold them off for too long. The longer they delayed, the worse it would be for them. Gain the initiative by striking first. Longao held the Samsara sword in his hand and performed spatial teleportation. Before the two of them could react, Longao's body was already close to them. He directly used the 8th style of Samsara Lightning Strike. Longao's speed soared to the extreme. The reincarnation sword in his hand quickly came out. One sword after another, the reincarnation sword Qi, like lightning, began to attack the two people crazily. The two people who were originally full of confidence were forced by Longao before they could fight back. The two of them teamed up and prepared to turn the situation around. However, would Longao give them the chance? Definitely not. Longao had made up his mind. Whether it was Shun Feng or Fangxia, he must kill them this time. He couldn't leave them alive. Otherwise, if he didn't remove the roots, they would grow again when the spring breeze came. It would bring him unnecessary trouble. Under the crazy attack, the two gradually couldn't resist. Fangxia had no choice but to use the remnant consciousness of the Universal Region Lord. But the third prince, Shun Feng, suffered. Longao, you can't kill me. You can't kill me. Shun Feng had never been afraid. But at this time, Shun Feng was terrified to the extreme. Because he found that the other party was a madman who didn't care about his life. If it was someone else who knew his identity, would they dare to do this? There was no doubt that if others met him, they would avoid him. But Longao didn't care about his identity. It seemed that the other party was determined to kill him. Pucci. Shun Feng was instantly pierced. In order to eliminate the roots, Longao directly sent Shun Feng's body and soul into the dragon seal space. Shun Feng is dead? Seeing that Longao really killed Shun Feng, Fangxia was dumbfounded. Not to mention how much trouble the other party would bring. She alone would be in endless trouble. She originally wanted to borrow the strength of the third prince to enter the heaven-devouring empire. But she never thought that Shun Feng would die at this time. Wouldn't her efforts be in vain? Anger. Fangxia was furious. She roared. Her body emitted the terrifying power of the astral boundary. However, in the next second, Longao disappeared with the army of Starry Sky Soul slaves. Chapter 2023. Disappeared? Xia. What's going on? Until now, Fangxia was still in a daze. Fangxia said helplessly, Father, the third prince was killed by Longao. We're in big trouble. Fangcheng's face changed. Because no matter if it was Fangcheng or Fangxia, they both clearly knew what the death of the third prince Shun Feng meant. Whether or not it was because of them, the heaven-devouring empire would blame it on the Qinkuan sect. If the heaven-devouring empire came looking for trouble with the Qinkuan sect, would the Qinkuan sect be able to stop them? Without a doubt, they wouldn't be able to. The heaven-devouring empire was the ruler of the myriad worlds. Even the Black Wind Ridge wouldn't dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire, let alone the Qinkuan sect. They were in big trouble. Longao, that be asterisk starred. Fangcheng scolded fiercely. However, what was done was done. It was too late for regrets. For some reason, Fangcheng and Fangxia felt that something wasn't right. Could this be Longao's scheme? Not long later, the four men who were chasing after Longao returned without success. The four of them had already guessed that it was Longao's plan. However, they didn't take it to heart. The strength of Fangcheng and the rest were placed there. A single Longao wanting to have any effect was simply seeking his own death. As soon as they returned, they felt that something was wrong. Could something have happened? Fangcheng, where's the third prince? The moment Old Black and Old White returned, they saw that the only person missing was the third prince, Shun Feng. A bad premonition arose in their hearts. If something were to happen to the third prince, not only the Qinkuan sect, even the two of them would be in trouble. They might even be killed. He deserved to die for failing to protect the third prince. Seniors, Shun Feng is dead. Afraid that the two of them would be angry, Fangcheng didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately recounted everything that had happened. Silence. Elder He and Elder Bai were dumbfounded. What they were afraid of had happened. Now that Shun Feng was dead, how were the two of them supposed to answer to the heaven-devouring empire? The two of them had never thought that Longao would make a move on Shun Feng. After all, Shun Feng was the third prince. Killing the third prince was equivalent to offending the heaven-devouring empire. Did Longao not want to live anymore? Was Longao not afraid of the heaven-devouring empire? Unbelievable. Fangcheng, You should explain this to the Empire yourself. Regardless of who the culprit was, if the heaven-devouring Empire were to find out about it, only death awaited him. Feng Cheng had a helpless look on his face. Strictly speaking, this matter was indeed his fault. Elder He and Elder Bai had joined forces to hunt down Longao and had inadvertently handed Shunfeng over to Feng Cheng. What was the result? The two of you, let's not shirk responsibility for this matter. The most important thing now is to kill Longao and bring his corpse to the Empire. That way, we still have a chance of survival. Otherwise, not only us, but even the two of you will be killed. Feng Cheng spoke the truth. Elder He and Elder Bai were no fools. Naturally, they understood the meaning of Old Master Qian Kuan's words. If they didn't handle this matter well, they would definitely be killed. Longao has a spatial item. The moment we let our guard down, we will give him an opportunity. We can't go on like this. Based on my guess, if nothing goes wrong, Longao will take us down one by one. From now on, no one is allowed to leave without permission. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. No one objected. Just like that, everyone moved forward cautiously. Since things had already happened, there was no point in dwelling on it. They might as well find the Universal World Master God Divine Essence as soon as possible. Everyone had already made up their minds. If they could obtain the Universal World Master God Divine Essence and become the Universal World Master, even the heaven-devouring Empire wouldn't dare to make a move on them. No matter where they went, the Universal World Master God Divine Essence was a high and mighty existence. Right now, the only way to save themselves was to get lucky and obtain the Universal World Master God Divine Essence. In the distance, looking at the departing figures, Longao chuckled. I will make all of you pay the price. Within the Dragon Seal space, Long Fu, how long will it take to refine Shinfeng? The reason why Longao didn't destroy Shinfeng's body and primordial spirit was because he wanted to refine Shinfeng into a corpse slave. After all, Shinfeng's corpse slave was too useful for him. One could imagine what everyone would think if the third prince, Shinfeng, suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Master, although Shinfeng's cultivation base has reached the Universal World Master God Divine Essence level, it's not that great. I've calculated that if we were to refine Shinfeng's primordial spirit, it would take about 3 days. But Master, if we were to refine Shinfeng's primordial spirit, the Universe World Master's primordial spirit would have to slow down. Refine Shinfeng with all your might. Longao knew that it wouldn't be easy to refine the Universe World Master's primordial spirit. 3 days wouldn't be too much of a difference. Right now, the most important thing was to refine Shinfeng as soon as possible. No problem. I'll start with all my might right now. Longao didn't go to other places to search for the whereabouts of the 7 Universal World Masters or the godheads of the 7 Universal World Masters. Instead, he followed the crowd. This time, Longao had made up his mind. No matter what happened, he would destroy them one by one. If he could kill one, he would earn one. The 7 planes were connected together and were interconnected. Strictly speaking, the 7 planes were actually one plane because one could directly enter another plane from one plane. When everyone entered the 7 planes, they were frantically searching for the things they wanted. No one noticed that when they entered the 7 planes, there wasn't a single person in the 7 planes. There wasn't even a single spiritual beast. For the 7 planes, this was a little strange. Humans were like this. When they were too excited, they would neglect their surroundings. In the process of following the crowd, Longao began to realize that something was wrong. Because the entire plane was too quiet, it was like a graveyard. It seemed that he had to end the battle quickly so that he could properly observe the 7 planes. On the second day, when dusk fell, Longao, who had been following the crowd, suddenly felt the 7-star pearl in his hand emitting a faint glow. He was very curious. He didn't know what the 7-star pearl meant. Where are you going? There seemed to be some kind of energy calling out to the 7-star pearl. It was very unwilling. However, Longao knew that at this time, he had to choose to give up on following the universe sect and follow the 7-star pearl to see what was going on. Chapter 2024. Longao followed the 7 stars bead all the way to the left. He avoided the starry sky cultivators he met along the way. If he met someone who was blind, he would kill him directly. Where was the 7 stars bead going? Longao was very depressed, but since things had already come to this, he could only continue to follow. 2 hours, 4 hours. About a few hours later, in a valley that seemed to have a good environment, the 7 stars bead finally stopped. Was there a secret in the valley? The 7 stars bead was the key to opening the 7 planes. There must be a secret for it to bring him here for no reason. Longao did not step into the valley immediately. Who knew if there was any danger in the valley? It was better to be safe than sorry. After sensing it carefully, Longao immediately retracted his right foot as soon as he stepped into the valley. He sighed secretly. That was close. Longao could clearly sense that there was a terrifying power in the valley. As long as someone stepped in, they would be attacked. Master, try to pour your primordial spirit into the 7 stars bead and set up an air shield on the surface of your body. Hearing Long Fu's message, Longao nodded. He did as he said. Longao carefully poured his primordial spirit into the 7 stars bead. In the next second, a 7-colored air shield appeared and directly enveloped him. This time, Longao stepped into the valley again. It seemed that the 7 stars bead was the key to entering the valley. Without the help of the 7 stars bead, there would only be one result once he stepped into the valley. When Longao stepped into the valley, before he could react, his body had disappeared. What on earth happened? With a flash of light, Longao appeared in a huge stone house. After so many years, finally someone is here. Looking at the 7 old men sitting on the ground in front of him, Longao was shocked. There was almost no need to guess. He could already be sure that the 7 old men in front of him were the legendary 7 starry sky realm lords of the 7 planes. His luck was too good. It had been less than a day since he entered the 3rd plane, and he had already met 7 starry sky realm lords. Seniors, I didn't mean to offend you. Ha ha ha, of course you didn't mean to offend us. We summoned the 7-star pearl to bring you here because we don't have much time left. In less than a month, the 7 planes will completely disappear. If you don't come, we'll really regret it for the rest of our lives. Regret for life? What was going on? Longao was very curious because the 7 astral boundary lords hadn't perished. If that was the case, was there anything in the vast universe that the 7 astral boundary lords couldn't do? What a joke. Seemingly able to guess what the other party was thinking, one of the elders smiled and asked, "Young man, what's your name?" Longao. Seniors, how should I address you? Life is just a code name. It's been so long that we've forgotten our names. How about this? You can call us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? What kind of name was this? It made Longao a little depressed. However, since the other party had already said so, he could only say, Senior 1, Senior 2, Senior 3, Senior 4, Senior 5, Senior 6, Senior 7. Could it be that you are all sealed here? That's right. The 7 of us once roamed the vast universe together. Unfortunately, we formed a grudge with the Heaven-Devouring Empire. In the end, the Emperor of the Heaven-Devouring Empire led many astral boundary lords to seal us. A deep sigh sounded. In the battle back then, our primordial spirits were severely injured. Once we were reborn, no one knew if we could take revenge. Therefore, before the 7 of us were sealed, the 7 of us threw out the 7-star pearl to find a successor to take revenge for us. No problem. Longao agreed without hesitation. It wasn't that he wanted to inherit the legacy of the 7, but that he had killed Shinfeng and formed a grudge with the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Even if he agreed to the 7's request, he would only be doing them a favor. You have a grudge with the Heaven-Devouring Empire? Nodding. Longao didn't hide anything and told them about the grudge between him and the Heaven-Devouring Empire. He also didn't hide the fact that he had killed Shinfeng. Ha ha ha, Longao, you are really something. Not bad at all. I can sense your aura. You didn't devour any astral godhead. It seems like even if we were willing to condense our own astral boundary Lord Godhead, you wouldn't devour it. That's right. Longao had already decided that no matter what happened, no matter when, he would rely on his own efforts to break through to a higher realm. He wouldn't rely on devouring astral godheads. If he wanted to devour astral godheads, why would he wait until now? If he could devour the astral boundary lord's primordial spirit, it would be of great help to him. The seven revealed a look of admiration and said with a smile, "That's a little troublesome, but don't worry. Let us think about how we can help you to the best of our abilities." There was only a month left. The seven of them were anxious because they had waited for countless years for a single person to appear. If they couldn't help him with their full strength, wouldn't all these years of waiting be wasted? Longao didn't say anything to disturb the seven of them. He only stood by the side quietly. If he could obtain the full strength of the seven world overlords, it would be easier to deal with the heaven-devouring empire. However, Longao wasn't too optimistic. No matter what, the heaven-devouring empire was the true overlord of tens of thousands of worlds. Even if he had the strength of the seven world overlords, he wouldn't be able to do anything to the heaven-devouring empire. However, he still had some time. If 100 years wasn't enough, he would take 1,000 years. The seven of them were discussing something because they wanted to help Longao to the best of their abilities. However, no matter how much they thought about it, they still couldn't come up with the best solution. Longao, we've thought about it. Since you don't want to devour the starry sky god horoscope, there's only one way. We'll merge our primordial spirits with yours. I believe you'll be able to refine it in 20 days. Senior. He waved his hand. Longao, even if you refine our primordial spirits, remember not to use your primordial spirits to attack unless you have no other choice. Once you are listed as a strong enemy by the heaven-devouring empire, you will be in big trouble. Longao knew that if his primordial spirit could merge with the primordial spirits of the seven world overlords, it wouldn't be a problem even if he used his primordial spirit to attack the world overlords. Seven seniors, I will remember your words. The seven of them seemed to be going all out. If rebirth could solve the problem, the seven of them wouldn't do this. After all, if their primordial spirits were devoured, they would disappear completely. Even if they were world overlords, they wouldn't be an exception. However, the seven of them had already made up their minds. Since they had decided, they wouldn't regret it. Chapter 2025. Failed? Just as the seven of them were about to help Longao devour their own primordial spirits, something unexpected happened. The devouring failed, not to mention the fusion. What was going on? Longao, what's wrong with your primordial spirit? Shrugging his shoulders, Longao had no idea what was going on. The seven of them looked at each other and saw a trace of helplessness in each other's eyes. Finally, since your primordial spirit can't fuse with ours, the seven of us will seal our own primordial spirits in the seven-star pearl. Hopefully, it will be of help to you in the future. Since things had come to this, there was no other way. Just like that, the primordial spirits of the seven world lords were sealed in the seven-star pearl. Obtaining the seven-star pearl meant obtaining the inheritance of the seven world lords. The rest of the people didn't know about this at all. They were still foolishly looking for the whereabouts of the seven starry sky sector lords. If everyone knew that Longao had taken the lead, who knew what would happen to everyone? Longao bowed to the seven of them respectfully and left. Outside the valley, Longao also didn't dare to imagine that his luck was too good. He had just stepped into the realm, and in less than a day, he had already successfully obtained the power of seven starry sky realm lords. The seven-star pearl in his hands was the strongest weapon in the universe. At the very least, even if he met a world lord, he could use it to protect himself. However, the seven world lords had already said that they could only sustain a few attacks from the seven-star pearl. Unless there was no other choice, they could not use it. Master, it's a success. 3 days later, hearing that Long Fu had finally succeeded, Longao was elated. He immediately started searching for the heaven and earth sect disciples. Everyone was frustrated, but more than that, they were worried. The third prince had died tragically. Until now, no one knew how to explain this to the heaven-devouring empire. Longao? Just as everyone was searching for traces of Longao and the whereabouts of the 7 starry sky sector lords, they suddenly saw Longao's figure appear. Not only that, beside Longao was someone else. It was none other than the third prince of the heaven-devouring empire. The third prince didn't die? It was such a pleasant surprise that everyone was extremely excited. But very quickly, everyone became a little depressed. The third prince was clearly being controlled by Longao. If Longao used this as a hostage, things would be a little troublesome. Longao released the third prince. Old Black and Old White did not care about anything else as long as they could save the third prince. As for the grudge between Longao and Chinquin sect, they did not even want to ask about it. The two of you should know how valuable the third prince's life is. Why don't we make a deal? What deal? Elder Black and Elder White knew very well that the third prince was in their hands. They were in a passive position. The two of them didn't know what kind of outrageous request Longao would make. However, the two of them had already decided that in order to protect the third prince's life, no matter what Longao asked of them, they had to agree to it. Chuckling, Longao said, "Our deal is simple. As long as you kill Ancestor Chinquin, Fengcheng, and Fengxia, I'll return the third prince to you. Otherwise, crack." Wait. The two of them weren't fools. They knew that Longao wanted to kill the third prince with a borrowed knife. But how could they not agree? If they didn't agree and the third prince was really killed by Longao, they would be in big trouble. It wasn't easy to see that the third prince was fine. If they missed such an opportunity, the consequences would be unimaginable. Hearing Longao's conditions, Ancestor Chinquin and the rest's faces darkened to the extreme. Longao was shameless. The two of you, do you really believe Longao's words? Everyone was worried. If Old Black and Old White really turned against them, would Ancestor Chinquin be able to fight against the two of them? It was almost impossible. Ancestor Chinquin was clear that Old Black and Old White might really do this for the third prince. If it was someone else or something else, they might not. Third prince, don't worry. We'll definitely save you. Then Old Black and Old White turned around at the same time and said, Ancestor Chinquin, the third prince is superior. Nothing can happen to him. If you can sacrifice yourself for the third prince, it's a good thing. What do you think? Shameless. Ancestor Chinquin had seen shameless people, but he had never seen such shameless people. Since things had come to this, Ancestor Chinquin was not afraid of falling out with them. If he endured the humiliation, wouldn't it be a dead end? With a sneer, Ancestor Chinquin said coldly, Old Black, Old White, you two are a bit too shameless. Do you want Longao to let go of the Longao only if you die? Are you willing to do that? Of course, Old Black and Old White would not agree. However, before they could speak, Longao said, Don't worry. I only want their heads. I'm not interested in you. Ancestor Chinquin, cut the crap. Since we're acquaintances, you should kill yourself. Between the third prince and the Chinquin sect, Old Black and Old White would definitely choose the third prince and give up the Chinquin sect. After all, they were not afraid of the Chinquin sect, but they were afraid of the sky-devouring empire. Humph. Let's see how the Black and White territory ancestors are going to kill me today. Ancestor Chinquin knew that this battle was unavoidable. In that case, he might as well take the initiative. Maybe he could survive. Good timing. The two of them sneered. They did not put Ancestor Heaven and Earth in their eyes at all. If it was one-on-one, they might be afraid of Ancestor Heaven and Earth. But with 2 against 1, it was not difficult to kill Ancestor Heaven and Earth. In just a blink of an eye, the 3 territory ancestors of the Starry Sky territory had engaged in a fierce battle. It turned out that Ancestor Chinquin had concealed his real strength. Although he was a territory ancestor at the peak of the Starry Sky territory, he was still able to fight against 2 opponents at the same time. Old Black and Old White were shocked and angry. Father, what should we do now? Let's split into 2 groups. I'll help the ancestor, and you'll deal with Longao. We must capture the third prince. Only then can we survive. Father, I'll help the ancestor. You go deal with Longao. You? Fang Chung was a little surprised because he knew his daughter's real strength well. She was just a territory master of the Starry Sky territory. Helping the ancestor to deal with two territory ancestors of the Starry Sky territory was like digging her own grave. Father, I accidentally got Master's primordial spirit. With the ancestor's help, it won't be difficult for us to kill Old Black and Old White. The primordial spirit of a territory master of the Starry Sky territory? Fang Chung seemed to have guessed something. Chapter 2026. If Sia really had the primordial spirit of a Starry Sky sector lord, then helping Ancestor would be the best choice. Both of them worked together. One of them chose to help Ancestor Heaven and Earth, while the other chose to deal with Longao. Just as Fang Cheng got close, the third prince, who had been silent, suddenly attacked. It was too fast. If they were to compare their strengths, how could Shenfeng be Fang Cheng's match? But now the situation was different. Fang Cheng was caught off guard and was successfully attacked by the third prince. Here was the chance. Longao used his finger as a sword and used Reincarnation Lightning Strike. Rays of Reincarnation Sword Chi attacked Fang Cheng crazily like lightning. Without a doubt, Fang Cheng's body was penetrated by Reincarnation Lightning Strike. Even his primordial spirit was destroyed by Reincarnation Sword Chi. There was no chance for him to be reborn. Father, Fang Xia, who had just helped Ancestor Heaven and Earth, was furious when she saw her father killed. Poor Fang Cheng, a dignified Starry Sky domain emperor, was plotted to death by Longao. In the end, Fang Cheng did not guard against the third prince. Because from the beginning to the end, Fang Cheng did not expect the third prince to attack him. Giving up helping Ancestor Heaven and Earth, Fang Xia's body moved towards Longao. Before she arrived, the terrifying power of Star World had already arrived. Unfortunately, Longao certainly knew that the Starry Sky region lord's primordial spirit was powerful, so he would not fight with Fang Xia. In the next second, Longao's figure had already disappeared and entered the Dragon Seal space. After Longao disappeared, Old Black and Old White did not continue to attack. Instead, they retreated continuously. Fang Cheng had already fallen. If they fought with Ancestor Heaven and Earth and Fang Xia at this time, it would be very troublesome. Ancestor Heaven and Earth, if we can't find the third prince, you will die. Let's go. They did not continue to chase because everyone was a bit confused. Looking at the corpse on the ground, both Ancestor Heaven and Earth and Fang Xia's face were gloomy. Father, you can go on your way in peace. I will definitely avenge you and kill Longao. Xia, our top priority right now is to find a way to save the third prince. Otherwise, we will all be in trouble. Longao wasn't scary, but the heaven-devouring empire was. Now that the third prince's fate was unknown, Longao could kill the third prince at any time. If it had been someone else, Ancestor Qian Kuan wouldn't have been so worried. After all, no one would dare to kill the third prince for no reason. Except for Longao. In the eyes of Ancestor Qian Kuan, Longao was a madman. A lunatic who was not afraid of anything. A lunatic who didn't even put the heaven-devouring empire in his eyes. If the third prince was really missing from Longao, it would be really troublesome. Taking a step back, even if Longao didn't kill the third prince, with the third prince in his hands, Old White and Old Black would listen to Longao and deal with him. The two territory ancestors of the Starry Sky weren't easy to deal with. Ancestor, I have an idea. What is it? A person for a person. As Fang Xia sneered, the protector of Qinkuan sect walked over with Yi Ji Mei. It turned out that Yi Ji Mei had been captured by Fang Xia the moment she separated from Longao. This was her trump card. What Fang Xia didn't expect was that before she could make a move, Longao was already one step ahead of her. She didn't even have the chance to react before her father was dead. Looking at Yi Ji Mei, Ancestor Qinkuan understood what Fang Xia meant. Longao, I know you're here. Why don't you come out and we can settle our grudges? Even Fang Xia wasn't sure if Longao was still around. However, based on her understanding of Longao, Longao wouldn't leave. As expected, Longao's figure suddenly appeared. Looking at Yi Mei, he sneered, Feng Xia, what do you want? Brother Lin, don't worry about me. Leave first. Yi Mei hated herself for dragging Brother Long into this. Just call me a friend for life. It was a simple sentence, but Longao's meaning was clear. The more it was so, the happier Feng Xia was. This was the result she wanted. Longao, you killed my father. How are we going to settle this debt? Are you out of your mind? The grudges between us have reached a point where one of us has to die. If I don't kill Feng Cheng, I'll wait for him to kill me? What a joke. You're too naive. Feng Xia suppressed the anger in her heart. She knew that it was impossible for her to kill Longao with Yi Mei's help. Based on the situation, she had to settle the matter of the third prince first. Longao, I'll settle the score with you one day for my father's death. Now that Yi Mei is in my hands, as long as you let go of the third prince, your friend will be fine. Otherwise, needless to say, Feng Xia's meaning was very clear. Longao wasn't a wishy-washy person. Letting go of the third prince, he said, I'll wait for you. So straightforward? Feng Xia didn't expect that Longao would be so straightforward. However, Yi Mei was useless to her. It was worth it to exchange it for the third prince. Because Longao didn't have a hostage, he couldn't order Black and White to continue to attack them. Moreover, they could deal with Longao without any worries. Both sides exchanged hostages. In order to prevent each other from playing tricks, both sides were vigilant at all times. After arriving smoothly, Longao asked, Are you all right? I'm fine. I've implicated you this time. Longao smiled and didn't speak. Third prince, are you all right? The third prince Shunfeng did not speak. His face was cold, just like a zombie. Ancestor Qinkuan and Feng Xia did not know what happened to the third prince. Was his mind controlled by Longao? Longao, what did you do to the third prince? Longao turned around and left with Yi Mei, ignoring the crowd. Want to leave? The third prince was safe. Although they didn't know what Longao did to the third prince, as long as the third prince was safe, it was fine. Would Feng Xia let Longao go so easily? However, when Feng Xia was about to attack, the third prince, who had just returned, suddenly attacked Feng Xia. The others didn't see the third prince attack Feng Cheng. Feng Xia had the help of the Starry Sector Master's remnant consciousness, so she was able to dodge the attack. However, the others couldn't avoid it. In just a few seconds, dozens of Starry Sky cultivators were killed. The third prince rushed back to Longao's side. What happened just now? Everyone was a bit dumbfounded. They didn't know why the third prince and Longao were connected. Had the third prince betrayed and surrendered to Longao? Impossible, it was simply impossible. Chapter 2027. Third Prince. Ignoring the crowd. It was as if the third prince was possessed by the devil. He followed closely behind Longao's buttocks and didn't leave even a single step. What was wrong with the third prince? Longao, don't even think about leaving. If you dare to cross the line, I'll kill you. Feng Xia stopped abruptly. She didn't know what was wrong with the third prince. If Longao really killed the third prince, she wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Just like that, under the eyes of the crowd, Longao and Yi Mei left leisurely with the third prince's cub. Xia, what should we do next? Feng Xia had the Yuan spirit of a universal realm lord. Unknowingly, she had become the strongest expert here. Even Ancestor Qinkuan had to ask about it. Ancestor Qinkuan was helpless. Although he was a universal realm lord, he couldn't kill Longao. Before this incident, he definitely would not have believed that with his strength, he could not even deal with a Starry Sky cultivator. Longao was too much of a blow to Ancestor Qinkuan. How could Feng Xia not know what Ancestor Qinkuan was thinking? Her father was killed by Longao, and this debt had to be settled. However, this wasn't the best time to go against Longao. The third prince couldn't die. What should she do? Longao didn't continue attacking Qinkuan's sect because he was going to focus on breaking through to the Universal Realm Lord level. Although there was only a level difference between a Universal Realm Lord and a Universal Realm Lord, the difference in strength was huge. A month passed in the blink of an eye. Before anyone could find what they wanted, they were all teleported out. Longao and Spray of Plum Blossom were also teleported out of the Seven Realms. No one knew that Longao had obtained the Yuan spirits of the seven universal realm lords. Even Jime didn't know. The secret of the seven-star bead could be big or small. Longao knew that once the secret of the seven-star bead was leaked, he would be in endless trouble. No matter how confident he was, he wouldn't do it. The most important thing right now was to deal with Qinkuan's sect. Fangcheng and the third prince had already fallen. Only Ancestor Heaven and Earth and Fangxia were left. As long as he could deal with the two of them, he could avenge himself. Ever since he stepped into the vast starry sky, Longao had become extremely decisive in killing. This was because Longao was very clear on one principle. If one wanted to establish a foothold in the vast starry sky and live a better life, then one had to be decisive in killing. There must be no mercy at all. After a month of cultivation, his cultivation still hadn't successfully broken through to the starry sky domain lord realm. Opportunity, breakthrough point. Longao's cultivation had already reached a critical point, reaching a bottleneck. Even if he relied on his own physique, it would be difficult for him to break through. After all, there was a huge gap between a grade 9 starry sky cultivator and a starry sky domain lord. If he could not cross it, then he would forever remain a grade 9 starry sky cultivator. Once he did, he would be like a carp leaping through the dragon's gate. Longao had full confidence in himself. If his cultivation could advance from a grade 9 starry sky cultivator to a starry sky domain lord, not to mention a starry sky domain lord, he was confident that he could even kill a starry sky domain emperor. His strength was too low. After stepping into the vast starry sky, Longao realized that he was just a frog at the bottom of a well. A starry sky domain lord was a supreme expert in the sky martial plane. However, in the vast starry sky, it was a trash existence. There were just too many experts in the vast starry sky, not to mention other things. There were tens of thousands of starry sky domain lords and the tens of thousands of starry sky domain lords, not including the hidden starry sky domain lords. It was hard to imagine how many starry sky domain lords there were in the vast starry sky. Old Black and Old White, who were at their wits' end, suddenly received news that the third prince was not dead. He was just under Longao's control. The two of them were overjoyed. But in the current situation, they could not find traces of Longao at all. As long as they couldn't find the third prince, they couldn't be sure whether the third prince was dead or alive. After all, no one knew if Longao would suddenly make a move. They were very anxious. At the same time, everyone was worried and afraid. After discussing for a while, both Old Black and Old White decided that no matter what, the news of the third prince being captured by Longao must not be spread to the Heaven-Devouring Empire. Otherwise, the Heaven-Devouring Empire would be enraged and the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, no one could bear the wrath of the Heaven-Devouring Empire. The news of Longao controlling the third prince spread across the entire world. Everyone who knew about it was shocked. The news didn't come from Old Black and Old White, but from the Universal Sect. The reason was simple. The Universal Sect wanted to stay out of the matter. If the Heaven-Devouring Empire pinned the blame on the Universal Sect, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not only that, but the Universal Sect also spread the news that the third prince had brought Old Black and Old White to hunt down Longao. Due to their mistakes, the third prince had fallen into the hands of Longao. In the end, it was all Old Black and Old White's fault. It had nothing to do with the Universal Sect. When Old Black and Old White heard the news, they were furious. Both of them knew what the Universal Sect was thinking. However, they didn't head to the Universal Plane. Right now, the most important thing was to find Longao as soon as possible and rescue the third prince from Longao. Once the third prince was fine, it would be time for the two of them to take revenge. At that time, destroying the Universal Sect would be a piece of cake. Longao was one of the people who received the news as well. He was shocked. However, he was even more surprised. If Qinkuan Sect and Old Black were to go to war and both sides were severely injured, he would be able to reap the benefits. If everyone knew that the third prince was actually dead, who knew what they would think? If Longao didn't say anything, no one would know that the third prince was dead. After all, Shunfeng was the third prince. If the heaven-devouring empire found out about this, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wasn't Longao a little too arrogant? He actually dared to touch the third prince. This was a blatant provocation to the heaven-devouring empire. Everyone was waiting to see what the heaven-devouring empire would do. Everyone guessed that the heaven-devouring empire would send a universal world lord after this incident. If that was the case, Longao would be dead for sure. There was no need to talk about the strength of a universal world lord. They sympathized with him, but more than that, they despised him. He wasn't strong enough to go against the entire heaven-devouring empire. It was simply a path to death. When the heaven-devouring empire received the news, they were enraged. The emperor immediately ordered a Starry Sky world overlord to bring 2 Starry Sky territory ancestors over. Everyone who heard the news was shocked. It seemed like the heaven-devouring empire was truly enraged this time. The third prince being controlled was a great humiliation to the heaven-devouring empire. Chapter 2028. The heaven-devouring empire had sent out 3 super experts. They were Realm Lord Butian, Territory Ancestor Hongqi, and Territory Ancestor Jiangcheng. Realm Lord Butian was once famous. For some unknown reason, Butian chose to submit to the heaven-devouring empire and became an elder of the empire. No one had expected the heaven-devouring empire to send out Butian. Longao was unlucky. Universe Plane, Universe Sect, Universe Palace. Seeing Realm Lord Butian, Old Black, Old White, Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth, and Fangxia immediately bowed respectfully. "Greetings, Lord." His face was indifferent as he waved his hand. "What's going on?" Old Black was afraid that Old Ancestor Heaven and Earth would spout nonsense, so he recounted everything that had happened. "If you can't save the third prince, all of you will die." They weren't surprised at all. This was because everyone had already guessed that if anything were to happen to the third prince, they would most likely be in grave danger. They could only pray that Longao wouldn't kill the third prince. "Spread the news that I want to talk to Longao." "Talk?" "I don't know if Butian's brain is flooded with water or not. Since you have personally come, will Longao dare to show himself?" As though he could read their minds, Butian said, "Spread the news. Say that I swear on my honor that I won't touch a hair on his head." No one doubted the words of the Universe Realm Lord. Reputation was the most important thing to the Universe Realm Lord. A few minutes later, the news spread from the Universe Plane. Longao received the news instantly. After all, news traveled extremely fast in the vast universe. "Brother Long, don't tell me you're really going to the Universe Plane?" Ijime knew Longao too well. If it was someone else, they wouldn't take the risk. Although Realm Lord Butian had promised that he wouldn't do anything, no one knew the outcome. If Realm Lord Butian went back on his words, what would Longao do? It was better to be safe than sorry. No one could guarantee that Realm Lord Butian would keep his promise. Would Longao agree? With a smile, Longao said, "I want to take a look. My intuition tells me that this Realm Lord Butian shouldn't be someone who goes back on his words." Emerald Plum knew Longao's personality very well. Once he had decided on something, it was almost impossible to change his mind. "Brother Long, I'll accompany you." Longao shook his head. "Ijime, you stay here, I'll go alone." Without giving Jime a chance to speak, Longao turned around and left. Not long after, he disappeared without a trace. Universe Plane. Seeing that Longao had really come, many people were still shocked even though they had already guessed it. He couldn't help but admire Longao's courage. Normal people wouldn't be able to do that. "You're Longao?" "Yes, you are Butian? How dare you not kneel before my lord?" If it was another universal realm lord, would he do the same? However, the main reason why Butian was acting like this was because he admired Longao. After all, There were very few people who dared to offend the Heaven and Earth sect and control the third prince to fight against the heaven-devouring empire. Moreover, Longao was only a starry sky cultivator and hadn't even broken through to the starry sky domain lord realm. If it was possible, he would spare Longao's life because he could predict that Longao would become the territory ancestor of the starry sky in less than 100 years. Whether he could break through to the starry sky boundary lord or not, it would depend on his luck. However, he was sure that once Longao's cultivation base reached the starry sky boundary lord, his competence would surpass his. His heart was moved, and he loved talents. Butian, I only have one condition. Destroy Heaven and Earth sect and kill Fengxia, an ancestor of Heaven and Earth. Then, I will return the third prince. Infuriated. It was true that what one was afraid of came true. Longao's unreasonable request shocked Fengxia, an ancestor of Heaven and Earth. If Butian really attacked, who in Heaven and Earth sect would be able to stop him? Author's note: the first chapter is here. Chapter 2029. What would Butian choose? Back in the Seven Worlds, Senior Black and Senior White had betrayed Heaven and Earth sect for the third prince. If Butian made the same choice as them, Heaven and Earth sect would be in big trouble. He shook his head. Heaven and Earth ancestor let out a sigh of relief before Butian spoke. He had heard that Butian was different from other universe sector lords. He was a good man. Now, it seemed like it was true. If it were other universe sector lords, they would have agreed to destroy Heaven and Earth sect to save the third prince. You don't want to? Longao, if I choose to destroy Heaven and Earth sect, will you look down on me? Hearing Butian's explanation, Longao was a little surprised. Just like what Butian had said, if he really did that, Longao would really look down on him. A person who would do anything to save the third prince was trash. He looked down on Senior Black and Senior White. You're really different. Longao, tell me your condition. What should he say? After all, the third prince had died, and he had been refined into a corpse slave. If Butian knew about this, would he still be sitting here talking to him? At this moment, the news of the third prince's death couldn't be leaked. He stood up. We'll talk about this later. I have something to do now. Goodbye. Longao you. Waving his hand, Butian stopped his subordinate and said, Go ahead. Looking at Longao's disappearing figure, territory ancestor Jiang Chong was confused and asked, Sir, if we let Longao go like this, we'll be in trouble if the empire blames us. No one understood why Butian was so polite to Longao. With Butian's power, it was easy for him to kill Longao. Even if he didn't kill him, he could force Longao to hand over the third prince. But the result? He watched as Longao left, but he did not do anything. This kid isn't simple. Even I don't have full confidence to keep him here. Was it true? No one believed Butian's words. The strength of the starry sky boundary lord was there for all to see. Even if Longao had 3 heads and 6 arms, he still wouldn't be able to contend against the starry sky boundary lord. In everyone's eyes, this was just Butian's side of the story. In fact, what Butian said was true. He really did admire Longao, but for the sake of the third prince, he was willing to make a move. However, for some reason, he had a feeling that even if he made a move, he might not be able to keep this person here. Not to mention the others, even he found it hard to believe. This kid wasn't simple. Butian was curious about Longao's identity. He would rather die than believe that someone like Longao had no backing. However, among the tens of thousands of world surfaces, no sect would dare to offend the heaven-devouring empire. Could it be that this person was not from the tens of thousands of realms, but from another empire? Otherwise, there was no doubt that Butian would take action. Otherwise, how would he explain this matter to the heaven-devouring empire? Therefore, the matter of the third prince's death couldn't be leaked out for the time being. Longao naturally knew that the Heaven and Earth sect was investigating his identity. How could he not know the intentions of Butian and the others? However, he sneered. He came from the Heaven Martial Plane. Now that the heaven martial continent had been sealed by the divine mathematician, even the starry sky boundary lord wouldn't be able to find the heaven martial continent. In that case, not to mention the heaven and earth sect, even the entire heaven-devouring empire wouldn't be able to find his identity. Longao didn't continue to deal with the heaven and earth sect for the time being. His intention was simple. He wanted Bution to continue investigating his identity. The more they couldn't find anything, the more worried they would be about him coming from another empire. This way, the more Bution and the others feared him, the better it would be for him. Both sides had their own ulterior motives. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. Just as Longao had guessed, Bution and the others didn't find anything. Author's note: the second chapter is here. Chapter 2030. It was depressing. Longao's identity was like a bottomless abyss. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't find any clues. There was nothing he could do. Realm Lord Bution directly requested the Empire to start investigating Longao's identity. With the strength of the heaven-devouring Empire, it was easy for them to cover tens of thousands of worlds. But the result? They still couldn't find Longao's identity. At this point, everyone could finally confirm that Longao didn't belong to the heaven-devouring empire. He came from another empire. So arrogant and mysterious. Longao's identity wasn't simple. Bution and the others were so depressed that they were afraid. Such a monster had appeared out of nowhere. After a short discussion, Bution decided not to kill Longao. He only wanted to save the third prince. The impact of the war between the universal star empires was too great. Unless it was a last resort, no one wanted to start a war between the universal star empires. Until now, Bution and the others still didn't know that the third prince had died. In a mid-grade plane, Longao looked at the black iron fragment in his hand. He seemed to be lost in thought. Brother Long, this is just a fragment. Is it a treasure? Spray of Plum Blossom was curious. He didn't know why Longao treated this black iron fragment like a treasure. In the entire universal star market, this was probably the most worthless item. Yet, he spent 5 universal god sparks to get it. Was it worth it? In Spray of Plum Blossom's opinion, it wasn't. However, Longao nodded and said with a smile, Spray of Plum Blossom, I can sense something different from the black iron fragment. If I'm not wrong, this black iron fragment should be. Longao didn't know how to describe it. His intuition told him that this black iron fragment wasn't simple. Before Spray of Plum Blossom could speak, Longao released his primordial spirit and slowly entered the black iron fragment. There was a loud boom. Longao's face turned pale. If he didn't retreat in time, his primordial spirit would have been destroyed. Brother Long, what's wrong? Nothing. There's a backlash from the black iron fragment. Backlash from the primordial spirit? As a level 9 cultivator, Spray of Plum Blossom knew what this meant. It seemed like there was something wrong with the black iron fragment. Brother Long, you still want to try? He was a little dumbfounded. Longao's primordial spirit was almost devoured in less than a minute. Longao was ready to try again. If his primordial spirit was devoured, the consequences would be unimaginable. Longao knew what Eiji Plum was worried about. He smiled and said, It's okay. I was careless just now. I will be more careful this time. This time, the primordial spirit that Longao released entered the black metal fragment bit by bit and entered it through the surroundings. As long as the power backfired on his primordial spirit, he would immediately withdraw it. Longao was confident that the power within the black metal fragment was unable to destroy his essence soul. The surprise on his face grew bigger and bigger. It was a huge dark space. It was boundless, and one could not see the end of it. Inside the black iron fragment, there seemed to be a small starry sky. It was really shocking. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it. A giant that was several hundred meters tall stood in the middle of the dark space. He was startled. Who was this person? Indestructible tyrant body? At this moment, 3 words suddenly appeared in Longao's mind. It was the immortal tyrant body. At first, Longao didn't think much of it. But suddenly, he seemed to have thought of something and his face was full of disbelief. Seeing Longao's expression change again and again, Iji Plum became more and more curious. He had already guessed that Longao was basically fine. He must have encountered something because the expression on Longao's face told him everything. The beautiful tyrant body turned out to be the immortal tyrant body. There were a total of 12 starry sky rulers in the vast starry sky. The 5-element starry sky rulers, the devouring starry sky rulers, the thunder starry sky rulers, the space starry sky rulers, the time starry sky rulers, the destruction starry sky rulers, the reincarnation starry sky rulers, the immortal tyrant body starry sky rulers, and the darkness starry sky rulers. The immortal tyrant body was one of the 12 starry sky rulers. It was known as the starry sky ruler with the strongest defense. Longao never expected that the immortal tyrant body would appear in the black metal fragment. No, Longao knew very well that the immortal tyrant body had fallen. Then, the giant in the distance shouldn't be the immortal tyrant body. Could it be the remnant consciousness of the essence soul? We meet again. Again? Looking at the indestructible tyrant body starry sky ruler, Longao was completely stunned. He had seen this person before, but he had never thought that this person would be the legendary indestructible tyrant body starry sky ruler. Was this real? Senior, you? He didn't know what to say. It turned out that the black-clothed giant was none other than the old man who sold the black iron fragment to Longao. He was an arrogant old man who thought that his item was the best. If Iji Plum was here, he might have been scared out of his wits. Don't be nervous. My original body has fallen. What you saw before and now are my remnant consciousness of the essence soul. After countless years and countless reincarnations, I still can't find it. Alas, there's not much time left. A sigh came, which made Longao very curious. He didn't know what the immortal tyrant body was looking for. With his strength and identity, it was not a problem for him to command the starry sky. What did he want? Did he need to find it himself? Longao didn't ask, because in this case, it was useless to ask. If the other party wanted to tell him, even if he didn't ask, he believed that the other party would tell him. If the other party didn't want to tell him, then even if he asked, it would be useless. Longao, would you like to do me a favor? Senior, please tell me. As long as it's within my power, I will help you. Longao could feel that the immortal tyrant body didn't have the slightest malice towards him. He was very willing to make friends. You leave first. I will find you later. Senior, please. Longao slowly left the black iron fragment. In the dark space, the black-clothed giant sighed deeply and said helplessly, I hope I can find it this time. Otherwise, alas. After withdrawing from the black iron fragment, Longao was still in a daze. He did not expect that the immortal tyrant body starry sky ruler, one of the 12 starry sky rulers, would have his primordial spirit remnant consciousness in the black iron fragment. Brother Long, what happened? Iji Plum asked with concern. Longao didn't want to tell Iji Plum. After all, this matter could be serious. If it was leaked, the consequences would be unimaginable. After all, the remnant consciousness of the immortal tyrant body was something that even the heaven-devouring empire couldn't resist, let alone ordinary cultivators. Author's note: Chapter 3 is here. Chapter 2031. Nothing much, just that the black iron fragment is a little weird. Seeing that Longao was unwilling to say more, Jime didn't probe further. Brother Long, what are you planning to do next? Chinko sect and heaven-devouring empire weren't doing anything, but that didn't mean that they had given up. What should he do? After dozens of days of investigation, even heaven-devouring empire couldn't find out Longao's identity. Just like that, Butian could almost affirm that Longao came from another plane of another empire. If it was really as he had guessed, then the matter would be very troublesome. Was it worth it to start a war with another empire for a prince? To Butian, it wasn't worth it. But to heaven-devouring empire, if they didn't handle this matter well, others would think that they were afraid of the other empires. And the main culprit was Chinkuan sect. Butian had a rough idea of what had happened. It was impossible to say that he wasn't angry at all. If Fangxia hadn't dealt with Longao first, no one knew if Longao would have done anything to the third prince. They couldn't do anything right. But Bu Tian didn't blame Qinkuan's sect. The reason was simple. If he blamed Qinkuan's sect now, others would say that they didn't dare to deal with Longao and only dared to punish their own people. If that happened, both Heaven-Devouring Empire and Bu Tian would lose face. One could say that. To Bu Tian, this was all Qinkuan's sect's fault. They were the ones who brought this upon themselves. What should he do? At this moment, Bu Tian couldn't make up his mind because at this time, he couldn't act recklessly. Otherwise, if he was driven to desperation, even if Longao killed the third prince, it wouldn't be an impossible matter. No matter what, with the third prince's status, nothing could happen to him. Although Bu Tian was very clear that even if something happened to the third prince because of his mistake, he believed that the empire wouldn't punish him for a prince. But what about his face? The empire sent him here to ensure that nothing went wrong. Thinking about this, Bu Tian wanted to settle this peacefully, so he invited Longao to the Qinkuan realm as a guest. Longao was not worried at all because he knew that as long as the third prince was in his hands, the other party would not dare to act rashly. Since Bu Tian's arrival, this was the second time Longao had stepped into the universe plane. Life was unpredictable. Cosmic sect. Longao, please. Bu Tian, please. The two of them sat down as if nothing had happened. However, both of them had their own ulterior motives, especially Longao, who did not dare to relax in the slightest. Longao, you and I are both straightforward people, so I'll get straight to the point. Longao didn't say anything, but he sneered in his heart. Of course, he knew what Bu Tian wanted to say. This matter started because of the Qinkuan sect. Originally, it had nothing to do with the third prince. The third prince was too rash. I apologize on his behalf. Bu Tian apologized? On the surface, Bu Tian was apologizing on behalf of the third prince, but in reality, he was apologizing on behalf of the Heaven-Devouring Empire to Longao. What was going on? Such a thing had never happened before. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed it. However, no one dared to say anything, especially those from the cosmic sect. Even though they knew that it was embarrassing, this was the only way to protect the third prince. At this moment, no one could be sure that Longao wouldn't act. A lunatic who dared to go against the cosmic sect and the Heaven-Devouring Empire alone. Wouldn't he do something stupid? It was better to be safe than sorry. If Longao acted against the third prince, Bu Tian alone wouldn't be able to answer to the Heaven-Devouring Empire. The people behind him sighed deeply. For Longao to be able to force a Starry Sky Realm Lord to such an extent, it could be considered unprecedented. Longao, what do you think? I accept your apology, but I don't know what you want. Despite knowing the answer, Longao pretended to be ignorant. Jiang Chong was enraged. He sneered, Longao, don't be so shameless. I should be the one saying this to you. I'm a person who gets agitated easily. If I can't control myself and do something bad, it won't be good for either of us. It was a threat, a blatant threat. However, Longao had the qualifications to threaten him. After all, Longao had the upper hand. Shut up. Seeing that Bu Tian was angry, no one dared to say anything else. However, the anger on their faces grew. A puny grade 9 cultivator dared to behave atrociously in front of a universal realm lord and 4 universal territory ancestors. Longao was really arrogant. Longao, you're a straightforward person. If you're going to continue like this, then it's meaningless. Bu Tian was a little unhappy. In order to save the third prince, he chose to apologize personally. However, Longao pretended to be ignorant. Bu Tian, I understand what you mean. I'll tell you the truth. I have no intention of becoming enemies with the Heaven-Devouring Empire. It's just that the Heaven and Earth sect is too despicable. They've tried to kill me time and time again. I'm just defending myself. If I didn't fight back, I would be the one to die. Bu Tian nodded in agreement. He already understood the situation. When he thought of this, Bu Tian couldn't help but want to destroy the universal sect. Why did they have to provoke this madman? It was fine if they provoked him. After all, They could kill Longao without leaving any trouble. However, not only did they fail to deal with him, they even lost Fengcheng and captured the third prince. Butian, there's no problem in letting the third prince go. I just need you to swear a blood oath that you won't do anything to me and won't interfere in the grudge between me and the universal sect. If you agree, I'll let the third prince go. Otherwise, even if I have to risk my life, I'll make sure you guys don't have to worry about anything. Butian didn't like this feeling. It was obvious that he was being threatened by the other party. If he agreed, there would be peace. If he didn't agree, there would be a complete falling out. However, could he refuse? Dealing with Longao was very simple. If he forced Longao into a corner, what would he do if he dealt with the third prince? He believed that because of this, Longao was certain that he would not dare to make a move. That was why he came here without fear. Otherwise, would Longao dare to come alone and boast so shamelessly? No problem. Ancestor Qian Kuan and Feng Xia's faces changed when they heard Butian agree. This was Butian. This was the heaven-devouring empire. He didn't care about the life and death of the universal sect. The two cursed in their hearts, but they didn't dare to say anything. Butian had already made up his mind to kill them. If they provoked him now, who knew what would happen? However, Butian also had his own bottom line. Now, Longao had already touched his bottom line. If he continued to endure like this, where would his face go? Inside the dragon seal space. Longao also felt a little regretful. He never thought that Feng Xia would see through the clues. If he had known, he would have sworn a blood oath to Butian that he couldn't attack him no matter what. Now, he was in big trouble. Butian obviously wanted to kill him. For Starry Sky territory, ancestors were already difficult enough to deal with. Now that Butian had joined in, it would be difficult to deal with him. Miscalculation. Really miscalculation. However, it was too late to regret now. He had to think about how to deal with it. Butian immediately did what he said. However, even if the third prince was now a puppet, he didn't dare to do anything. Everything would wait until the third prince's puppet was sent back to the heaven-devouring empire. Everything would be decided by His Majesty. However, in the next second, without waiting for Butian and the others to react, the third prince's figure had already disappeared under everyone's eyes. Seeing this, Butian and the others were almost certain that Longao hadn't left at all and was still here. It was just that they couldn't locate him with the help of the spatial divine tool. Longao, if you're still a man, come out and fight. Why do you have to be so sneaky? Butian, you're going back on your words. How dare a person like you still dilly-dally here? Butian was a bit confused by the sudden words because he was indeed in the wrong. No matter what was said, he had already made a blood oath. As for the matter of the third prince becoming a puppet, he could only blame himself. He couldn't blame Longao. Everyone had to fight for themselves. It was either you die or I die. Longao's actions were understandable. However, how could he explain it to the Empire? A puppet was no different from a dead person. If he sent the puppet back, the Empire would definitely blame him. Longao, come out and say it if you have the ability. Fine, I'll come out. Longao's figure suddenly appeared and stood in front of everyone. He coldly looked at everyone and coldly said, Butian, I originally thought that you were a gentleman. Since you've sworn a blood oath, you wouldn't continue to attack. However, it seems that you're the same as them. You're all shameless people. Since that's the case, why bother speaking so much nonsense? Without waiting for Butian to speak, Longao continued, previously, the third Prince Chen Feng and Feng Xia relentlessly chased after me without stopping for even a moment. Since I have already caught Chen Feng, I will definitely cut the weeds and eliminate the roots. Butian, if you were me, what would you do? Kill without mercy. Butian didn't go against his own thoughts. According to the current situation, no matter who it was, they would definitely eliminate him. Longao's actions weren't wrong. There was nothing wrong with it. However, their positions were different. Butian said, From your point of view, you're not wrong. However, from my point of view, you've gone overboard. You're right, there's no need for me to speak nonsense. Longao, I won't kill you. Follow me back to the heaven-devouring empire, and let His Majesty deal with you. How about it? Follow you back to the heaven-devouring empire? Longao almost laughed. He was certain that if he followed Bution back to the heaven-devouring empire, only death would await him. There was no chance of survival. The heaven-devouring empire was an absolute existence that spanned tens of thousands of worlds. Just the space sector lords alone numbered more than 100. Even if he had 3 heads and 6 arms, it was almost impossible for him to leave the heaven-devouring empire alive. If his cultivation base could break through to the space sector lord realm, there would be no harm in making a trip there. However, right now, Longao knew that he couldn't go. Longao, if you're unwilling, I can only kill you and bring your corpse back to the empire. Bution wasn't willing to act. The more Longao acted like this, the more he admired him. However, if he didn't kill Longao, he wouldn't be able to answer to the empire and His Majesty. Chapter 2033. No matter how much he appreciated Longao, things had already come to this point. If he didn't kill him, he wouldn't be able to answer to the empire. The only way was to bring Longao's body back. Longao turned around and took a step forward. In an instant, he was 1,000 meters away. If you can kill me, then we'll talk. Longao didn't enter the dragon seal space because the surrounding space was already disturbed. There was no need to even try. However, Longao was confident that even if he could only use teleport, Bution and the others wouldn't be able to catch him. If it didn't work, he could only use the 7-star pearl. Longao's teleport could get rid of Starry Sky cultivators below Starry Sky territory ancestor. However, it might not be able to get rid of a Starry Sky sector lord, especially Bution. Bution's speed was extremely fast. You forced me. Longao took out the 7-star pearl. After his primordial spirit entered the 7-star pearl, the 7-star pearl emitted a dazzling light. 7 powerful star worlds smoothly came out. Before Bution could react, he was already enveloped. Star world suppression. Bution was completely stupefied because he never would have thought that Longao's body could actually release 7 strands of Star World's power. Could Longao be a Starry Sky sector lord? Impossible. That was absolutely impossible. Bution could clearly sense that Longao was only a level 9 Starry Sky cultivator. Not to mention a Starry Sky sector lord. He wasn't even a Starry Sky sector lord. How did Longao do it? In an instant, Bution had already guessed that it was a Starry Sky divine weapon. Longao must have a Starry Sky divine weapon in his body. Moreover, it was sealed with the primordial spirits of 7 Starry Sky sector lords. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be able to do it. Primordial spirit was just a primordial spirit. Longao couldn't use all of his primordial spirit power. In this case, the 7-star world powers could only suppress Bution. It was almost impossible to kill him. However, Longao didn't think about killing Bution. He thought that this person wasn't bad and could be friends with him. It was just not yet. Bution, I want you to remember that it's not that I can't kill you. It's just that you're a decent person. Maybe we can become friends in the future. Ha 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 ha. With a burst of laughter, Longao turned around and disappeared without a trace. Everyone behind him was dumbfounded. Was Longao that powerful? Sir, what should we do? Settle the matter of the 3rd prince as soon as possible. I'll make a trip there. Everyone was very clear that Bution was going to personally make a move. The fact that the 3rd prince's puppet had been secretly transported back to the heaven-devouring empire could not be leaked. Otherwise, the heaven-devouring empire would lose all face. Bution headed east all the way because Longao's aura had never stopped. Was Longao really not afraid of death? If it was the previous Bution, he definitely would not have placed Longao in his eyes. But now, the situation was completely different. The godly weapon that Longao had on him was extremely powerful. If they were to clash head-on, Longao would choose to injure both of them. and Butian wouldn't be able to defend against it. Butian was clear that Longao definitely didn't have the strength to kill him. Otherwise, things wouldn't be so troublesome. If that was the case, there was only one explanation. Unless both of them were injured, Longao would be able to kill him. Otherwise, Longao wouldn't be a match for him. A low-leveled world, given the strength of both of them, no one would be able to detect their presence if they were to enter a low-leveled world stealthily. Even so, Longao did not stop at all. He brought Butian along and soared into the skies. It was only when they arrived at an extremely cold place that they came to a stop. "Brother Boo, please take a seat." There was a stone table and 2 stone stools. Butian did not stand on ceremony as he sat down and said, "Longao, aren't you afraid that I'll deal with you if you do this?" Butian chuckled. Longao's face was filled with indifference as he said, "I believe that Brother Boo was able to sense it earlier. As long as I choose to destroy both jade and common stone, then both of us will die. I believe that Brother Boo is not willing to see a situation where both of us suffer." "You're right. I'm very wary of you. However, Longao, you refined the third prince into a puppet. Even if I don't take revenge, the Empire won't let you off. Why do you have to do this?" Others might not know how powerful the Heaven-Devouring Empire was, but as a member of the Heaven-Devouring Empire, how could he not know how powerful it was? Even if Longao had a powerful godly weapon, would he be able to shake the Heaven-Devouring Empire? That was impossible. "If you didn't refine the third prince into a puppet, I could have let you go on my own accord. Moreover, I could have settled the grudge between you and the cosmic sect. But now, Butian's conduct was really good. Longao wanted to make friends with him more and more. He was used to seeing deceit and was used to seeing despicable and shameless people. This kind of person was really rare. Brother Boo, what's done is done. You don't have to do this. I'll take responsibility for what I did. The third prince and Fangxia wanted to kill me. If I didn't eliminate them, I would be the one to die. I won't leave any trouble for myself. You're decisive in killing. Your future is boundless." Butian praised Longao's character and domineering attitude. How many people in the entire universe could do that? "Brother Boo, if you don't mind, I'd like to be friends with you. How about it? Do you think that's possible?" Butian smiled. He really couldn't understand this young man in front of him. They were clearly enemies, but now he wanted to make friends with him. If it was someone else, would they do this? What an interesting young man. Longao laughed as well. There are no eternal friends or eternal enemies in this world. You're in the Heaven-Devouring Empire, but you're not one of us. Since that's the case, why can't we be friends? There's no enmity between us. Longao was certain that Butian wasn't the only one. He believed that many of the Starry Sky Realm Lords were just consecrated existences of the Heaven-Devouring Empire. As expected. Looks like you've already guessed it. You're right. I'm just a consecrator of the Heaven-Devouring Empire, not a member of the Heaven-Devouring Empire. However, I owe the Heaven-Devouring Empire a debt of gratitude. I can't do anything to betray the Empire. Brother Boo, I think you've misunderstood. I'm not asking you to go against the Heaven-Devouring Empire, nor will I ask you to do anything to betray the Empire. I truly want to be friends with you. Butian didn't continue speaking. He lowered his head and drank one cup after another. Butian didn't say anything. Longao didn't say anything either. He knew that this was a difficult task for Butian. Butian was thinking while Longao was waiting. The two of them drank quietly. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.